It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell are in Malvern, PA, in a Microsoft satellite office there to do the special show today. They're in the same room with some a little something extra to celebrate the holidays. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. It's also the final Patch Tuesday of 2025, and there are a lot of updates, plus the good things about AI and the bad things about AI. And where are those Xbox Black Friday specials? All of that and more coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell, episode 962, recorded Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. Peak bloat. It's time for Windows Weekly. Hello, you winners and you dozers. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you for your delectation in this holiday season. They're in the same room.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
The call is coming from inside the house.
It's inside the house.
It's inside the Microsoft office anyway.
You're in Redmond?
It's my camera. Yeah, no, we're in Malvern, Pennsylvania, and we're in one of the big Microsoft meeting rooms. They've lent it to us.
That's nice of them.
So we can do this. And then after this, I'm going to do a .NET Rocks Live.
Oh,
Carl's
fun.
coming in, and we've got a couple hundred people showing up, and the topic is the future of software.
Will you stream that
in the back
live?
of the room and be like, liars!
No.
Not going to stream it live, but you will offer it next week on .NET Rocks or for the Christmas week?
Yeah, next week.
Next week. By the way, that is Richard Campbell of .NET Rocks and runasradio.com. And to his right, my left, your upside down, Mr. Paul Thurrott of Thurrott.com.
It's actually so subjective.
He's not in the upside down.
He should be, though.
You could be, because that wall is so green and
it's very neutral, kind of.
It's corporate green.
It's like an institutional color, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it green or is it just the shading, or is it white?
Yeah,
it's kind of a greenish blue.
Yeah, there's a little greeny bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would never try and name it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
you know what the color of
there.
the year is, according to the great folks at Pantone? White.
It's a white, isn't it? Yeah,
it's
white.
They call it like
white
cloud.
It's all colors.
Yeah, they have a name, but it's
inclusive this year.
Yeah.
It's not that orange color from the iPhone?
Somehow, no. I don't know how that happened. Yeah. But anyway, that is not the color of your wall. It is last year's Pantone color of the year. It is not.
Although the one we're facing is that orange color.
Some kind of orange.
Is it orange? Wow, that's interesting.
There's another wall. It's a color wall across from us here.
Wait a minute, I take it back. The color of the year 2025 is Mocha Mousse. Oh, that is not appealing. Mocha Mousse. Oh, my God.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, that's not fortunate at all.
Yeah.
I thought it was a white. Somebody told me it was
mocha that's been put in a blender.
Oh, maybe this is 2025 and 2026. Because Cloud Dancer is the color of the year for 2025. So they give it the year coming. It's like a car company. So the color of the year 2026 is Cloud Dancer, which is a lot better than what we might call Poop Brown. All right, enough of that silliness. Let us do a show, gentlemen. Let us talk about Windows. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's Patch Tuesday. And I've been patched, and so have you.
Yeah, you noticed.
Oh, no. I could tell when you're updating computers, you curse a bunch. I've had a few days in the Thurrott household and been very enjoyable. But
you've learned.
You can tell when Paul's working. He's got 4 or 5 laptops going at once, and there are angry noises.
You've learned your lesson. Wow.
It's that one time of the week I kind of move around a lot. Kind of active.
Punching walls. Are there holes in the walls? Oh, wow. Sorry.
There are holes in the walls.
Something's gone terribly wrong.
There we go.
No. Okay, we're going back. So, fellas, as you say in your show notes, it's the big one, Elizabeth. What is that?
Yes.
What is? I know it's a reference to.
It's a Sanford and Son reference.
Yes, Red Fox. By the way, he did eventually have a heart attack, and because he had been joking around for so many years, nobody believed it. They thought he was joking.
He was the boy that cried wolf.
The boy that cried Elizabeth.
Yeah,
That's kind of sad.
it is sad.
So are you saying is it really a big one? Like, are there a lot of changes?
It is a big one.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's not the big one, but it's in the top half, I would say, for 2025.
It's not, oh my God.
I mean, it's been a big year for updates. It really has. I mean, I keep thinking it's going to slow down, and every month they surprise me. So
The next month will be slower because it's going to be, the holiday season.
that's the theory.
Yeah.
But then again,
they've even said as much, haven't they?
I guess we'll find out because we'll talk about this in a moment. Because there's some insider stuff too. So, but yeah, so if you remember last week, we were talking about what was the week D update, which went out in week A of the next month because of timing and holidays, whatever. So this is essentially that. The big one that people will notice is, I'm going to see, I take out one of these earbuds because it's driving me crazy hearing my echo, is the File Explorer dark mode stuff has been improved dramatically. So File Explorer has had dark mode for a while, but now what they have is dark mode in the file copy progress, the about or the properties box, whatever, et cetera, the sub windows essentially. If you did install the preview update, you might have noticed what we lovingly call a flashbang, which is you bring up a dark mode window for the first time and it flashes white and then goes dark.
It's awesome at night when that happens.
Yeah. If your eyeballs were working well before, they are not now, but they did fix that, so that's good. So it seems good. And then this has the streamlined context menus. Actually, I want to see. I'm just going to look at that now myself because I haven't seen that yet. But no, that's not. I'm not looking at some good content here, but
is it streamlined?
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, no, it is. Okay. So, in the sense that they have an open with menu, there's an AI actions menu. Of course, there's always been a menu. And then a lot of these things that used to have individual items are now submenus. So OneDrive has submenus, which may have been there already, actually, but Photos does as well. So edit with Photos, create with the designer, et cetera, if you have an image. So
progress.
You said progress, not perfect, right?
Yeah. I didn't even talk about perfect. I just said progress.
Okay. That's good. If you have an Copilot Plus PC, a bunch of updates in here. So AI agent and settings, click to do Windows Studio Effects, which is the external camera deal. What I'm going to call semantic search, but Windows search, all have been improved in various ways.
And do any of these things actually have dependencies on the hardware of a Copilot Plus PC? Like, are they using the
Yeah, every one of them is using a local AI model and or the NPU.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
do they have to?
The fact that this Studio 2 has an NPU but doesn't qualify as a Copilot Plus PC means I don't get any of these.
That's right. So I would imagine on your PC, even though it should work, they're not going to use an external USB webcam or whatever the external, like the rear. If you had a rear camera, which you might actually in yours,
I don't.
They won't let you. They probably won't let you use that Windows Studio Effect on those cameras. But your computer could absolutely handle that. That's
me and my NVIDIA 4060.
Yeah.
Right? You can feel the heat coming off this thing right now. Put your hand right there.
Microsoft AI has no idea that exists.
Nope. So doesn't exist at all. But a 4060 in my laptop burns my fingers. Can't use it.
Yep. And then, for the normal people that don't have Copilot Plus PCs, a bunch of stuff just across, widgets, which is, by the way, is going to look awesome. I don't think I have it on this computer. Actually, I do. So Richard can see it, but you can't see it. But they've changed the widget board pretty dramatically. And now, honestly, it's, I think, what people thought this was always going to be, which was widgets. not the stupid Discover feed, which is still there, but it's actually a little hidden, which I like. So that's nice. And then just small things across taskbar, Windows Share, because, it's been another month. We have to keep changing that. The full screen experience for Xbox is available on our computers, and anyone can install it soon. Some other things. So it's a bunch of stuff. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to look at this system. So I should have. I do not have. Never mind. All right. Oh, no, I do. Yeah. So if you, one way to know if you're up to date is you'll have an advanced page in settings under system. And this stuff used to be around all over the place. Like the developer stuff is in here. So like developer mode if using Visual Studio with modern apps, et cetera. But this is a good thing for a lot of people to go in and look at, because there are things that I find to be really useful that you can enable in here. So, for example, when you do a jump list on an item that's on the taskbar, right? So you right-click essentially. You can add the end task item to it, which is a way to crash an app without having to go into Task Manager.
Nice.
Yeah, it does the same. It works the same way. It's really nice. But the virtual workspace stuff is new in this build, and that's where you get things like Hyper-V, Sandbox, etc. If you have support for that. But everyone listening to this show, check to see if you have this, and wait for it to happen if you don't. But check out the options in here. This is worth looking at.
The advanced stuff is worth looking at.
Yeah, sudo. You can enable sudo.
Turn on sudo. Make your machine potentially more vulnerable, but you get to do what the cool Linux kids do.
Well, I actually think it's better to use sudo than to have an admin terminal window, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything is admin that way. This way you can just do it.
This one you just escalate when you...
If only there was some operating system that invented this before Windows had it. It's hard to say.
No, you're just not crazy.
That would have been nice. So this is a big one. This is a big one. So there's that.
Yeah.
Now, as a potential preview for what Patch Tuesday might look like in January, let me think about that. Yeah. We just got a new dev and beta builds through the Windows Insider program, 25H2. And there are some big things in here as well, right? So the first public preview of MCP support, which Microsoft technically announced at Ignite, but said was coming at Build right back in May.
Yeah.
So now it's starting to occur. And this is where you can connect different AIs to different, I'm going to call them apps for lack of a better term, but it's basically a connection between apps and AI that's standardized. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but that's starting to roll out. A good improvement to quick machine recovery. I think we had mentioned before that it won't go into an endless loop now like it used to. So that's there, but also it's automatically enabled now if you have a Pro or above on a non-domain joined computer. So like a normal person or whatever, an individual. Something Microsoft also announced at Ignite called, this is because we need new acronyms, Unified Update Orchestration Platform. And this is a way for more updates to go through Windows Update rather than through the store or through some back end of whatever kind that someone might have. Maybe if you wouldn't get it an app and they have their own updating system, whatever, they're going to allow more and more apps to use Windows Update for updates. So fantastic. And then for you people still living with an Atari ST, Windows MIDI Services is finally there with full support for the MIDI 2.0 standard.
Wow.
I bet this hasn't been updated in 25 years or more.
No. There's been some updates to it. You can get USB to MIDI interfaces.
Okay. All right. Well, that was 25 years ago. I don't know. So that's happening. And I think that's most of it. Yeah, that's the most of the important stuff. So that's what we can look at for next month, for people on Stable or whatever.
Nice.
All right.
Good.
Now the bad news.
Oh.
I know. So the past year, we've gotten price increases on Microsoft 365 for consumers. And they added the premium SKU, remember, which has more AI stuff in it, basically. But like family, that is for 6 people, but only the account owner gets all the AI stuff. And there's no way to manage that. I'm hoping that changes. At Ignite, they announced a bunch of new AI features and really kind of confused the matter, frankly, for people that are not paying for Copilot for Microsoft 365 or Microsoft 365 Copilot. So the main Office apps are getting a chat interface and you get some form of AI interaction without having to pay for it, essentially, is how that works. That's cool. You're thinking, Microsoft's giving me something for free. But they're not. So in July 2026, they're going to raise the price of virtually every Microsoft 365 commercial SKU. So I think there's 2 exceptions. I shouldn't be totally cynical about this. I don't understand.
I don't know
these
why you're not going to be
for-
totally cynical about this. The company has been posting record profits every quarter for 2 straight years.
I don't see how that's related to this, Richard.
They need to raise prices.
Right. Well, but they're also laying off people, so it's not like...
Clearly. That makes total sense. Like, this is a desperate time.
Yeah.
for somebody.
There's been some shuffling of feature sets where you used to have E5 for certain features, but now you can get them in E3, et cetera. It's still confusing because they have some that are named Office 365 and not Microsoft 365. The most confusing, of course, is there's a Microsoft 365 E3 and also an Office 365 E3 because we're just screwing with you now. We have no idea what's going on.
I thought they were going to get rid of all the Office.
I did too.
SKUs. It's all Microsoft.
Yep.
All right.
So
I'm sure they're locked in some long-term contracts that were early customers before.
The thing we're not seeing here too is that big companies get discounts on, for volume.
Yeah, none of these
prices.
numbers.
These numbers are just
if you're
retail prices that don't exist.
Yeah.
Remember, you used to go to like Fry's Electronics and buy a box of Windows Server, and it was like $1,000.
Yeah.
People don't buy things like that that way. Like that's not how you buy that, and this is not how you buy this. But some of these, depending on the SKU, at least one of these is I think 33% higher than it was before per month. And you got to remember, on the commercial side, this is per user per month. So if you have a bigger organization, this is big bucks.
I don't. It's only you're up $1, you're up $2,
but per user per month, and that adds up. That's, I don't know if you know how math works, Richard.
I'm trying to figure it out, man. Trying to keep up with you here.
This isn't compound interest. This is basic math.
But if you're sitting a couple of thousand seats, this is a bunch of money. But it's also, if you're sitting a couple of thousand seats, you can negotiate.
Exactly. Yeah, right. That's true. That is true.
All you had to say really loudly is Google Workspace and see what the numbers look like.
And because this is Microsoft, this was announced as a giant benefit to users because they've added like 3 million new features to Microsoft 365 this year, most of which are based on AI, of course, right? And so I don't know.
Well, that's the other part is like, where are the Copilot pricing in all of this?
Well, that's an addition, and that hasn't changed, or at least not yet. And so they're maintaining that street price, so to speak, of $30 per user per month on top of whatever these things are.
Right. But we still have some debate as to how many people are actually paying that.
Exactly. So they don't talk about that, but a lot of companies, according to reports and so forth, are paying half that amount, or $20 per, whatever it might be.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of criticism, of just how effective these tools are coming into the end of the year.
Yes. So there's that. But that won't affect individuals.
Okay.
And then is this actually the next story? I guess it is.
Yeah, we should take an ad break.
All right.
So, nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to come back on the screen, Leo? I'm waiting to see how this goes for you. I'm really excited about it.
That was like a Bernie Mac.
I'm really reluctant to press that button.
Push
the button, Leo. Push the button. I don't want to see what happens.
Hey, they fixed it while I was away, asleep. We're going to have more in just a bit with your genial hosts, Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell. But first, let's take a break for a word from our sponsor, 1Password. It's easy to assume when you're a small business like ours, or yours maybe, that you're flying under the radar, right? No ransomware goons are going to attack you. Well, no, that's not true. The reality is small businesses are being targeted more and more by bad actors. I'm not sure why. Maybe cyber criminals know that small businesses have lean teams, right? That they don't have the resources to prevent or respond to a breach, so they're vulnerable, right? In short, there's bad news. Teams of any size can be a target. I got to tell the truth. The good news is even the smallest teams can foil cybercrime, and you do it with 1Password. 1Password provides simple security, affordable security to help small teams manage the number one risk bad actors exploit, and by far, weak passwords. 1Password provides centralized management to make sure your company's logins are secure. It's a simple turnkey solution that can be rolled out in hours, whether you have a dedicated IT staff or not. So however complex your security needs may get, 1Password will stay with you every step of the way. A password manager should be, I think, do you agree? The first security purchase you make for your team. I presume you know that, right? Small businesses have to plan for the worst case scenario. You don't want your employees putting the passwords on Post-it notes, but that's even less dangerous than reusing passwords on multiple sites. All it takes is one of those sites to get breached and you're dead in the water. You got to guard against cyber attacks from the very beginning. Eliminate password reuse. Store passwords securely. For small teams, responsibility for security is often on one person who's already doing other things, right? Juggling other business functions. The most effective security solutions have got to be intuitive, user-friendly, so that everybody at your company will use it, right? You don't want Joyce in accounting to go throw up her hands. I don't understand it. I can't. I'm just going to always use monkey 1, 2, 3. There's what could possibly go wrong. Oh, 1Password's Enterprise Password Manager helps your company eliminate security headaches and improve security by identifying weak and compromised passwords and replacing them with strong, unique credentials. And Joyce in accounting will love it. It's intuitive. It's easy to use. Don't let 1Password's name fool you. They're not just a password manager. 1Password's EPM lets you securely store and share developer secrets and other sensitive data. Isn't that one of the ways, these secrets get exfiltrated? You accidentally commit them to GitHub? How often does that happen? All the time. It's an easy oops. Not if you store all those secrets in 1Password. It'll also help you in the transition, I think important transition, to passwordless authentication by transitioning to passkeys. With EPM's simple automated workflows, your team can enforce security compliance and prevent breaches and potentially prevent millions of dollars in losses you can't afford, we can't afford, no one can. It's the single most impactful investment you can make in your company's security. So take the first step to better security by securing your team's credentials. Find out more at 1Password.com/Windows Weekly and start securing every login. That's 1Password.com/Windows Weekly. We thank them so much for their support of Windows Weekly and the lovely and talented Paul and Richard in Malvern.
And our institutional background.
Malvern sounds like a Revolutionary War kind of a town.
You probably
or the name of like a battleship from Galactica or something.
Malvern. We did drive past Valley Forge.
There you go.
And also by the Valley Forge Casino and
Casino Resort. Yes,
buffet restaurant.
That's the Native Americans getting theirs back, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
They're finding and I am going to do a little, Pennsylvania history as part of the whiskey this week.
Oh, exciting! Now, is there a plaque on the wall of that meeting room that says George Washington slept here?
I'm pretty sure no.
No, but it's going to say Paul Thurrott slept here because I'm exhausted.
Well, let's talk about AI. I think we've left that a little.
First, I just want to mention that Keith S512 missed the first 30 minutes of the show, so I'm just going to go back to the beginning. I don't want to.
Well, you start over for Keith. He just got here, huh? Oh,
I know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, for some reason he says I thought it was Thursday.
Windows Weekly.
Yeah. Well, he is in the UK. It is a little confusing back there,
Yeah.
Speaking of the Revolutionary War, yes.
Yeah. Time is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so.
Yes.
Right.
So AI.
Yes, AI. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there's some companies that have been marketing this AI thing pretty hard this year.
No kidding.
And I know it hasn't really been in the news. I don't think it doesn't cost that much, so it's not really impacting anything. But the big thing, and this is at least a year old now, is this agentic AI thing, right? And I thought to myself, for all the marketing, for all of the hype, there's actually a bunch of stuff that does work well that is, we would call AI. And none of it is agentic. Like none of it. Almost none of it. And so I thought maybe I could come up with just a quick list, of things that actually work. So whether you're an AI cheerleader or an AI denier or somewhere in the middle, whatever it might be, we can have this kind of middle ground where this is like where AI actually is making sense, if that makes sense. First thing though I wanted to say is for weeks, months maybe, I've been talking about this thing. I didn't know what to call it. As we make apps in Windows or apps on your mobile device controllable by AI or accessible to AI, I've been calling it programmatic, like a programmatic app. And I've compared it to the COM, OLE, DCOM, whatever stuff from the 90s. But the idea is that this thing has public interfaces that you wouldn't see as a human being, but a service like an AI agent could access to get at features of those apps. We just talked about the streamlining of the context menu and File Explorer. That's an example of that type of thing where you basically publicize or publish, however you want to say it, individual features of apps that you can take, like actions you can take on certain files. So you right click a document and you can say, rewrite this with Word or whatever the capability is. Turns out there is a term for this, and I've heard it before, even in this context. I just didn't make the connection. I was watching an OpenAI podcast video about their browser, Atlas, ChatGPT Atlas, and they were talking about the semantic web. And I thought, that's it. That's the term. It's semantic. And semantic basically means, in this context, machine controllable. And in the future, we're probably going to have websites that will have two versions. There'll be that public-facing version that you see with your eyes usually and interact with your hand or a mouse or whatever it is. And then there's going to be the semantic version, which is the machine-readable thing that AI agents will interact with, instead of scraping the screen, which is really unsophisticated. And so I think we could apply that term to apps as well. I don't know that this is how people are describing this, but if there is a semantic web, I think we could argue there will be semantic apps as well. And that we see the beginnings of that in Windows. Like I said, I'll right-click an image. And so you have AI actions, is what we're calling them in Windows. So you can visual search with Bing, blur background with photos, erase objects with photos, remove background with Paint. So those are kind of semantic capabilities of the app. Now, in this case, the app is going to run. You're going to see it. You're going to interact with it. But this is how AI will buy things for you in the background and that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a term. So I asked Richard, I asked my wife, I asked Laurent, just for some examples. I came up with some on my own. And I think the best use cases, if you will, which it's features, right? AI is not a product. It's a feature, generating summaries, right? And so we all know you can get summaries of an article you read on the web.
I just used Google to ask, what did Washington do at Valley Forge? Yeah. And he gave me a nice summary of that's the second one. Wait, we're going to get to that. Web-based articles, documents of all kinds, obviously, those are obvious. My wife is saying that she gets Zoom meeting summaries. And AI is just good at that kind of thing. And that's kind of cool. And the meeting thing is interesting because whether you're using Teams or Zoom or whatever, it might be a meeting you were in, but it might also be a meeting you were not in. And you might want to see what the summary is, and then you might want to go listen to key parts of it or whatever. Yeah. I'm also seeing now policies for some meetings where no AI agents are allowed. And I was at Microsoft. I was on an MVP call.
That's curious.
I just booted all the MVP all of the AI note takers.
Okay.
I mean, they put out a summary, so you don't need
I see. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I think summaries this is just not universal, but I think it might be the most common use case. And then you ask a question, get an answer, which is what you just did, right? Yep. This is typically a Google search scenario. Mm-hmm. But when you think about it, not all times, but many times what you're looking for is the answer to some question. You're not looking for a list of links. You don't want choices. You want the answer.
Yeah.
And I think that's, when people say like ChatGPT or something will take over for Google search, I think this is what they're talking about because...
And it's Google doing it.
And Google is now doing it too. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that's very interesting to me. My wife had really specific queries that she used that worked really well. One of them was, our daughter had to renew her license. What is the best DMV to go to in Eastern Pennsylvania tomorrow morning?
Wow,
and it spit out this answer that explained where and why. And it was like, you know what? And it worked, by the way, it worked great. She got in and out of this place. It worked great. And the meeting thing, as a follow-on to the summary, is here's the summary of the meeting. Maybe you weren't there, maybe you were. You can say, did my name come up? Right? So if you have an action item or something to do from that meeting, you'll know. Like, that's useful. When we first moved into the house, we had this like a clog in the sewer under the house, and this metal thing came out of it, and the guy was like, I don't know. He's like, this looks like it's from the 1800s or something.
That'd be baffled there. It's
no one knew what to
do.
How do you search for that? So at the time, my son put it on Reddit and said, what is this?
Oh, that's smart.
We found out within 15 minutes.
Sure.
And you can do that type of thing, right? With AI, right?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, I've done it all the time. I was
the Google picture feature now, right? Does that really well.
I was walking down the street in our neighborhood, and there were these things that looked like snowshoes on the wires.
Right.
And I thought, I don't know. And then I thought, I could probably ask AI.
Exactly.
And it immediately said, oh, yeah, that's for fiber optic access.
A wire with a ball in the middle. Yeah. What's the ball?
What's that? Yeah.
Right. So actually, that's number 4 is visual search. Every one of us now, well, most of us now have a phone that will do some form of that. You point it at a thing, could be a business, it could be an object, and say, what is this thing? And if it's an object, you can then go and say, well, where do I buy it? Or if that's what you want to do, Anyway, we don't have to go through every one of these in detail, but writing help, everyone needs writing help. This is everywhere and will be everywhere. Automation, which I think this is the dark horse. This is the productivity scenario I think is going to be a big deal next year, which is we in the Microsoft space have had various ways to automate kind of workplace productivity scenarios, whatever, but they require code. They're complex. Normal people will never do them. But now that we can talk, we can kind of babble our way through this. Every time Richard emails me, I want an alert, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You might not know how to do that in the interface of your email application, but you can ask it that, and this is just a no-brainer. So that kind of thing.
So there is this idea of a new UX just from...
Yes. And, we all made fun of Satya Nadella when he said, I see Copilot as the future start menu. We're like, but I hate to say it, but he might be onto something, because the big difference between everything I'm describing here and the other things we'll talk about is that a lot of this is about intent. It's like you have some goal in mind. In the past, you had to understand how the commands worked in an app, maybe what the UI meant. You had to kind of master a tool. And now you can just say, look, I just want to get this done. Here's the thing I want. And as it progresses, that will get more and more sophisticated. It's rather incredible.
There was a time when you went to the computer to do a task. Now you just go to the computer. So you're kind of reminding us, like, you could now be just focusing on the task.
I'm never going to talk to my computer, Richard. It's like, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
Give it a day. Yeah. You are going to talk to the computer. Yeah. I mean, he knows. I talk to my computer all day long.
Yeah, it's just not listening.
It's just mostly profane.
Yeah. I can't tell you how obscene some of the conversations I see people, especially developers, with the bots, the coding generators, as we're calling them these days. Like, they're really quite mean to them. Like, it's an HR violation, except it happens to be software.
It's okay.
Well, that's okay then, right? You can yell it.
Take it out on the bot.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that
so that's interesting. There are different camps on this, by the way.
Yeah.
On what?
On whether you
should be cursing at the software.
Yeah. Lisa routinely, when Amazon's Echo is talking or Siri is talking, says, "Shut the F up."
Right.
And
see, I relate to that.
Yeah.
That's how I interact.
Do not interrupt me.
Yeah. I'm working here. I'm busy here. And so I understand that. And it is just software. But then I've talked to parents, and parents have, some parents say, we don't want to teach our kids to be rude in any circumstance. So I understand both points of view.
I see both sides of that.
It's not in my nature to say mean things, even to an AI.
Oh, it's in my nature.
Yeah, no, I know that very well, Paul.
Accessibility-wise, language translation and captioning are amazing.
Yeah.
Doing those things live on the fly is amazing.
Astonishing.
Doing those things together is Babelfish, and that is amazing. So if you have like these headphones or with the Google thing or whatever, it doesn't matter, and you can sit there and have a conversation with someone else where for them, they're hearing in your voice their language, and for you, you're hearing in their voice your language. That's magic.
Yeah. Earlier this year, I went to a wedding entirely in Dutch, which I do not understand.
Right.
But I turned on Translate, and it was doing it real time for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Just expect it to work, really.
It's amazing. It's straight up amazing. It's amazing. Software development, I think, is the first obvious win for AI. Not that it's perfect, and that's not really the point, but this is also an important indication of what this relationship really is between a developer and AI, which is not that I tell the AI to make a game and walk away and I've made a game. You have to know what you're doing. You have to make sure, someone is looking at the code. It's helping them get something done. And to me, this is just the difference between spending all day looking through Stack Overflow answers to questions and just getting the job done and moving on to the next thing. So to me, that's a win.
And certain personalities, and I know a few of them, can have 6, 7, 8 of these running simultaneously on a project.
Oh, yeah. Because it will come back later with some big part of it. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it's changing. It is a new way to approach software development. It's not the only way, And it's certainly not set, but we're starting to see this emerge.
Fundamentally, to me, AI is about making or saving you time, saving you money, or saving you both. And if you think about a developer 30 years ago, 35 years ago, they would go to a bookstore, buy a big book, and they had this reference, and that they would slowly, ponderously find answers to questions that are hopefully correct. The internet happened, it became faster, but we're still scrolling through lists of blue links, in and out, trying to find the answer. This is the next step. I don't mean to say it's perfect, but it's a faster way to get to the same place. And that's the point, saving you time, which saves you money.
I use it all the time. I use it all the time.
This is
a huge fan.
Transformative.
Just mentioning AI, we have coming up on the next show, Intelligent Machines, a very interesting guest. He jailbreaks AI. He does it both for companies and for fun. And it's become his basic
kind of pen tester.
Yeah, kind of. Pliny. And he, Steve Gibson talked about him.
Red Teamers? Yeah.
Red Teamers.
Yeah, Steve Gibson talked about him a few months ago. Basically, the premise was there is no AI known that cannot be jailbroken and then asked for, illicit things or whatever. It's just impossible.
Taken off track anyway.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So because of his kind of interesting sideline, he will be hidden and will use a voice changer.
I love it. Oh, that's right. Like an old 60 Minutes interview.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. So
Jim Morrison is alive. He's living in Paris.
So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I just wanted to put a little plug in for that because you're not going to want to miss it if you're interested in all this. And it is a relevant topic because the whole idea of AI safety might be bogus. To be honest, right?
Or it's so different from traditional technology security that it requires a new way of thinking.
Yeah,
right.
Most of the best pen testers I know can break into pretty much any system, no matter how hard you try.
Exactly.
It's really the question is what happens after that.
Right.
Yeah.
So Pliny the prompter will be
security in depth. Pliny the prompter.
Pliny the liberator. He calls himself sometimes.
I love it.
He'll be our guest coming up in about an hour and a half on Intelligent Machines. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue on. Continue on.
Completely relevant. So questions and answers, but there's also the next step, like more advanced kind of research-based queries, I guess, for lack of a better term. A lot of this stuff is one-off. This is the thing I talk about a lot, where I'm saying once a year I have to make this chart. I don't want to master Excel. I just want to make the chart, or I'm going to go to Paris for a week. It's the only time I'm ever going. I want to make sure I don't miss anything, but I don't have to become an expert in Paris. I just want to, get the trip, figured out. Education, learning, white paper, whatever you want to think of this as. This is the one thing that edges into this agentic area where something might go off for a while, do that deep thinking thing or whatever, and come back. And maybe you have an interaction over time. Or maybe doing something like, I want to get surround sound speakers for my living room. This is the system I have now. This is what I'm looking for. I'm only going to buy this thing once. Then I'm going to be done forever. I don't have to become an expert in standards of, how sound works or whatever. Like I just want to do it the one time. Then I'm going to make this purchase and I'm going to be done forever. That kind of thing. So it's research, for lack of a better term. And then this is a semi-controversial because people think about it in terms of AI is making music or making poems or making books or making movies or whatever it might be. But not that type of entertainment, but rather you're a Spotify user and there are AI-based playlists, based on your likes or something. You play online multiplayer games like I do, and it can create maps or locales or I guess Alexa this week turned on a feature for Prime Video where you can say, just talk to it. Go to that place in the video. You're watching Jurassic Park. Go to the part where the Tyrannosaurus is attacking the Ford Explorer, right? Which is a wonderful natural language way to interact with something. It has nothing to do with the way we've ever navigated through a movie before at all,
Does that work? You can do that?
Yeah, it just came out. This is a new thing. I've not used it, but it's just
wow.
So there's probably a lot more, but I'm trying to separate the hype from the reality, right? This notion that agents are going to go do things on your behalf is mostly science fiction today. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen literally, but some people are starting to do this kind of things. But this is all they talk about. And this is not what most people's experiences are. But I just listed, I don't know how many that was, 10 or more. That stuff's all real. It's happening right now. You can all get this right now. It's free, basically, for everybody. And it's real, So, and again, there are these extremes with AI, and I get it. But if you kind of land in the middle somewhere, this is, I think, where we're at. And it's pretty good, by the way, right? That's a good set of stuff, I think.
Gemini has blown me away. The new Gemini 3.0 is...
Same.
And I use it
totally for granted now that you can take a photo of anything, and your phone will tell you what's in the picture.
Yep.
It's amazing.
It's so good you've forgotten it was impossible.
You forgot you couldn't do 2 seconds ago. Yeah. I mean, the image that I used for that article, which Richard can see here, looks like a photograph. It's not. It was generated by Gemini. Mm-hmm. And I've been generating images for a couple of years now, 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and most of them are pretty cartoony. You can tell they're generated. You can often tell they're generated.
This one? No.
This one, not so much.
It's getting harder.
This one? No. Which article?
No, it's when AI works.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll find it.
It looks like a photo from an ad.
Yeah.
We used to say, oh yeah, you can always tell. No.
Nope.
You can't tell.
No. Tough.
No.
Get tough.
No.
Oh yeah, this does look like.
It looks like a photo.
Looks like a Microsoft ad.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah. I didn't mean that, but yeah, it does.
The only thing that's wrong on it is that the text is not backwards. He's looking through it, reading through a screen, and it says AI optimization complete, but you can read it. It should be backwards. But you could easily fix that with just a secondary prompt saying, "Can you, mirror image that text?" And it would do it perfectly. I
just think look at the short amount of time we've had this stuff. It's amazing what you can do. It's amazing how much it's improved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's even got audio engine speakers. I don't know what these boxes are, though, on the left. I feel like those are a little
Don't overthink it, Leo.
Okay.
This is like Phil Spencer is hiding in the next Xbox console in the background or something.
Yeah. I am just excited there's the right number of fingers.
Yeah.
Did you say he should be an Asian guy, or was it just random?
Nope, that's random.
Yeah. I think, is this used Anthropic for this or Gemini? What did you use?
No, Gemini.
Nano Banana, of course. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that Google has kind of trained it to be diverse.
Yeah, that's fine. As soon as I saw this, I was like, that's it. We're done.
Don't tell Trump, but I don't mind it. No, it's fine.
You shouldn't mind it. You should embrace it. It's great.
I embrace it.
Yeah.
And, I've been using, every year we do these Advent of Code challenges, which are a lot of fun coding challenges. And I used to have, I have a library of Lisp books, and I'd have to go and look up, what is the name? I'm sure you do that too. Anybody with coding, you don't remember always the syntax, and your editor might help you with that. But sometimes you need to kind of look stuff up. I just use AI now, and I gave it all the books because this is the beauty of using an ancient language. Almost all the books are available online because they're not being sold anymore. So I just uploaded all the PDFs. It's got 20 different Linux, classic Linux, Common Lisp books in it, and it knows everything. And I can even say, well, if I want to use this library, how would I do it? And it will just go and say, you just do it this way.
Nice.
It's incredible.
And even in what you just said, what you're really describing in a way is you're communicating it with it naturally. You're not doing the machinations of, I see this example in a book, but I want to do it in a different way over here, and you're doing it. You're just describing what you want.
It's even great.
I think
it's even great for debugging. Yeah. So occasionally I'll do something and I don't know. I can't see what's wrong with it. It's like having a programming partner, and you just say, "Can you?"
Someone you can throw something against,
and it goes, "Oh yeah, you have an extra parenthesis here." So, oh, thank you.
Right.
It's amazing.
Right. This is why, so many people are so down on this stuff, and I know. I get it.
I try to correct them.
We feel threatened and all that stuff, but there are these. Everything I described is transformative in some way. Most of it in some small way, but it's just happening everywhere, and it's making things better.
Yeah.
How come your laptop is curiously angled?
You guys are leaning to the right. I don't know, or to the left.
I'm leaning against him.
And I think Richard, push back. I just said in the Club 2 Discord, Paul's on the decline, and Richard's
on the decline. Yes, I would call it the recline, but yeah, fair enough.
Did you see? There's a lot of talk in the Discord now about the AI ad from McDonald's, which is the dystopian Christmas. It's pretty. I can't play it because McDonald's will get mad at me, but and I need my Big Mac fix. But it looks like it's in Dutch, so it might be not available worldwide. But
it's not available anymore at all. They pulled it.
Mm-hmm. Because this is what you're countering. There is a visceral reaction among people, anti-AI reaction. Like,
right, no, that's what I mean.
We hate all AI, and we're never going to.
The thing I don't know if it was last week or the week before, I blurted this out just in talking about this, because you were talking about there is a visceral reaction. And I said, well, what if we just called it technology? Does that change the opinion of people at all? And it's like, when you think about it, like, this is just another thing that's making something you use better. Like,
do you think this is the same reaction that we've seen time and time again to new technologies?
Yeah, 100%.
It's just Luddites.
This is from pencil to pen to typewriter to electric typewriter to word processor to Word on a PC. Like there were people like, no, I'm writing on a piece of paper. That's how I think Dan Brown writes books like that now.
Yep. Right.
What is he, some kind of a psychotic idiot? Like what are you doing? It's crazy.
No, plenty of artists is like, if you haven't put pen to paper, you haven't put paint to canvas, you're not really creating art.
Yeah, and then the guy who's over here with Photoshop is like, really? Look at this masterpiece I created. Yeah. Screw you. When I was a kid, I was into art. I did art. I won all these art awards. And one of the things I really struggled with, because computers hadn't happened yet for this kind of stuff, was you could make mistakes on a paper with pencil, erase, pencil, erase, pencil, erase. You would wear the paper through. The ability to undo forever or whatever, and to have a design where you're like, okay, this is good, but I want to do it again, but do this part over. Like, this is, anyone who's created anything has run into this. I don't understand not embracing technology that makes your life easier and better.
Well, and part of this is the name is terrible. There's science fiction connected to it, so people's perceptions are distorted.
Yeah,
it's helped them raise a ridiculous amount of money.
Right,
but it also has upset people because of believe the science fiction part.
Because when has AI ever gone well in sci-fi?
Never, because it doesn't make for a good story.
Right. It's a good enemy.
In its reality.
It's a good
that's
enemy.
the thing. Like, you never hear the stories where everything worked and everyone was fine.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hal got us to Jupiter and we figured everything out and went home happy.
That was a joke on SNL about some new Jurassic Park movie. The guy had never seen the movie, and he says, oh, this is great. He goes, everyone went to the island, the dinosaurs were friendly, no one died. He's like, what is this? What movie is that?
Amazing. Yeah.
So,
okay.
I'm not like an AI cheerleader at all. I'm not.
Well, I kind of
I hope I'm not being stupid about it. But
in fact, I hate it when people say, oh, the bubble's going to burst and all that. That's about finance. That's not about.
To me, I was going to say the bubble bursting is a financial problem. It's not a technology problem.
No.
Right. And I think there's such
need to build this technology with this much money, and now that it goes away, we're going to continue to use it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Look, any of us who have been around for any amount of time have seen this pattern before, which is
the web disappeared in 2001.
No, if I'm not mistaken, we're using it more than ever.
Yeah.
It becomes more accessible. It becomes less expensive. It becomes, more people can do things with it. It gets more powerful. I mean, this is what happens.
Yeah. The downturns are useful for focusing on what's actually valuable instead of just trying things nonstop. Like, it's
I don't care about, I do, but I care about technology. Like, I care about the products and services that, okay, they're making money or not making money, whatever. It's a conversation, but that's not where I don't approach it this way. So you can get lost in that, especially with AI, because the numbers are so skewed and so enormous, we don't even know how to make sense of it. But whatever, this bubble bursts or it doesn't, but this stuff isn't going away, guys. I'm sorry. Like, this is, no one is taking away spell checking and grammar checking because you think you can write better than anybody and don't need that. Because I have news for you. Maybe you can, but the rest of the world does need that. So
Let me pause. We have more AI to talk about and some negative stuff.
Oh, yes.
No, we're not all cheerleaders here. But I do want to talk a little bit about this thing, which is because the holidays are coming and our sponsor has a great gift for you to give. If you're looking for a gift to give, it is, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Aura frame. I have my Aura frame right here. Well, I want to show you. Now, there's something you might say, well, wait a minute. That Aura frame is plugged in. Yes, because after having it for 3 months, it finally has this thing that says, please recharge your Aura frame. So I'm gonna unplug the cable because here's the beauty part. It doesn't need to be plugged in for 3 months. And what's cool about, so it is a digital frame, but it's using e-ink. There's baby's first Christmas, by the way. That's me. I'm the baby. You take all of your old family photos, all the pictures that are stored on a hard drive somewhere that you never get to see, and now you can put them on your wall and see them whenever you're, looking up. The beauty of the Aura ink frame is it looks, look how thin it is. It's just like a picture on a picture frame, a very slim bezel because there's no wires. It doesn't look like something hanging on your wall that is digital. It is a photo. It's Aura Ink is Aura's all-new cordless color e-paper frame. Now, I know you know the name Aura consistently, year after year, picked as the best digital frames, but this is something brand new from Aura and really, really cool. The whole point of this is it doesn't look like a digital frame. It's not an LCD screen. Meet Ink, Aura's first ever cordless color e-paper frame, featuring a sleek 0.6 inch profile, and it's a softly lit 13.3 inch display. Ink feels like a print. It functions like a digital frame, and perhaps most importantly, lives completely untethered by cords. With a rechargeable battery, lasts up to 3 months on a single charge, unlimited storage, and the ability to invite others to add photos via the Aura Frames app. It's the cordless wall-hanging frame you've been waiting for. And they just announced this week a new feature. You can, with a phone number that's registered in the Aura app, text images to the frame. In fact, let me do that right now. What's cool about that is I'm going to give this as a gift to my mom, who's in the old age home, and she just loves looking at old pictures. We brought over all the family albums because, we wanted to, it's a great way for her to kind of connect with the past and with the family. She's got a little bit of Alzheimer's, and so this is nice. It's a really wonderful thing. She loves the pictures. Let me just send a picture over via text, so I'll be able to do that in the Aura frame. If I take a picture, of our Christmas tree or the grandkids around the Christmas tree opening presents, I just text it to grandma and it's there. What a great gift, right? The Aura software is the best. It's great. Adding this new feature, this text messaging is great, but you can always add stuff from your albums remotely. You just connect it to Wi-Fi and it's automatically getting the new photos. This is a transformation in e-paper technology. What they've done is really cool. There are millions of tiny ink capsules in here that they transform into your favorite photos. It renders them in, I would say vintage. It looks like a vintage photo. In fact, these are vintage photos of me as a kid. Can't wait till grandma to see this. They've done some real design innovation. They've really worked on this, I think, to make it something extra special. That's me again. Baby's first Christmas. And I apologize that I have to charge this. It's been 3 months. It's been before we started doing the ads. I haven't plugged this thing in, so I will, since we're done, I'll plug it in now. It has the graphite inspired bezel, the paper textured matte, the glossy front, make it looks completely like a framed photo on your wall, not a device, which I really like. It's not another screen in your house. Unlimited free photos. The Aura app is fantastic. This would be such a gift for any family member, any friend. If you have a friend group, you want to share pictures with them, this would be perfect. Aura Ink, the perfect gift for anyone who appreciates innovative design and cutting edge technology and maybe doesn't want a screen hanging on the wall. AURA frames.com/INK. Ink is the name of this frame. It's sleek, it's subtle, it's stunning. Ink blends the warmth of a printed photo with the versatility of an e-paper frame. Again, no cords, no fuss, just your memories. Beautifully displayed wherever you want them. Head to auraframes.com/ink. See for yourself. Mention the show at checkout. It supports us. That's auraframes.com/ink. Act now because they're offering a limited time holiday discount, which ends soon. We called him and said, "Hey, I see you got a discount." And he said, "Yeah, just say it in the ad, but we don't know how long we're going to leave it up." I said, "Okay, well, ends soon, folks. Now's the time. auraframes.com/ink. I am a fan. Richard and Paul are in Malvern, Pennsylvania at the Microsoft office. Do they have offices in every community? Is that how it works?
No.
Why Malvern?
There used to be. They closed a bunch of them. It's been here a long time.
It's Philly, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's Philadelphia office.
It's a suburban Philly. And it's a sales office, probably, right? More than anything.
Mostly, yeah. It's a lot of display structure and stuff outside this room for various verticals.
And you're going to do a special live.
Yeah, they do like
.NET
user group type meetings and so forth.
Yeah, so there's a user group meeting being held here, Philly.net, and we're going to.
Well, that's kind of neat. So they have it for user groups too. That's cool.
It's been a while since we've done one of these, so I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
Very cool. All right, more AI news.
Yeah, so I think a year ago-ish, Anthropic came up with MCP, which is the Model Context Protocol.
Right.
Which they gave out and was instantly adopted by all the big players, Microsoft including. And flash forward a year, and now Microsoft is one of the founding members of something that's called the Agentic AI Foundation. So AIF, which sounds like an Apple sound format to me, audio format of some kind, but Amazon, AWS, Anthropic, Block, Cloudflare, Bloomberg,
okay.
All the big tech players, Google, OpenAI as well, are all founding members. 3 key contributions at the beginning. I should say this is going to be under the Linux Foundation. This is basically an open, transparent organization for creating standards essentially for AI agents, I guess. So MCP is one of the first contributions. Block made something called Goose with the lowercase g, which is for local on-device AI agents, I should say, sorry. And then agents.md, which is the OpenAI kind of ad hoc standard for instructing AI agents on how to work, giving them the context they need to complete whatever the task is. So they're building off of that. But then the rest of the, I don't know what to call this thing, the program, the foundation, whatever it is, consists of like every big tech company you can think of, except for Apple and Meta, by the way, conspicuously absent from this list. But I think they're probably going to be part of it, or using technology that will be part of it anyway. I mean,
this is actually related to one of our sponsors, Agency. There's also a Linux Foundation project.
Yeah, they had come up in our space about a year ago because they started that. It's a stupid name, but Supporters of Chromium-based Browsers program.
Okay.
And the idea, it's essentially
there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
most
but
of them.
not just browsers, but also just kind of Chromium-based applications, essentially, right? And I think just trying to not take it away from Google, but take it away from Google, if that makes sense. To
seems to be the theme with everything AI. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is OpenAI. We're taking all
we're
your
not calling it that, but
that's kind of what they did.
It's sort of what it is, yeah. So anyway, interesting. Maybe a natural thing. And this had come up months ago on the show. We were talking about AI and why these companies, collaborating on this stuff so much. It's kind of notable in this market, but I think it has to do with the current regulation or climate and the way politics are right now, et cetera. Like these companies are like, let's move quick and get this stuff in before anyone can put a stop to it. And they're all working together. So this is kind of interesting. I mean, we'll see what comes of that. But the point here is that you will create AI agents. So you might be Microsoft, Google, whatever, OpenAI, whatever, and these things will all be interoperable. So an AI agent that can work off of OpenAI models will work off of Copilot models, will work off of Anthropic models, or whatever. So,
but it seems like they're headed on the path of W3C or IETF. Just try to put together a group that maintains some standards. And it's certainly early on here, these various teams are just going to be submitting stuff. People can decide they're going to adopt it or not.
That's right. And look, I mean, I'm sure Anthropic had a couple of geniuses that came up with MCP. Other people looked at it and said, oh my God, that's amazing. We're totally doing this. But this will allow that to happen on a grander scale where it could be some contributor from someplace you would never expect is going to walk and say, hey, what about this thing? And it will become part of the standard, right? Mm-hmm. So it's good. In the less good department, the researchers, industry analysts at Gartner have warned their customers that AI browsers are a security or cybersecurity risk that we do not understand, and that organizations should block their rollout across the board, like universally. And they're specifically looking at things like Perplexity Comet, ChatGPT Atlas, but their definition of an AI browser is that it has to have two things. So there's an AI sound sidebar where you're looking at content on the web and interacting with it over here, summarizing, rewriting, etc. But also those agentic capabilities. And that's the thing we always talk about. Autonomously, this thing's going to go out and do something on your behalf, so complete some task. It's going to buy a product. It's going to charge a credit card. Whatever it's going to do. We hear a lot about this stuff. We don't see a lot of it happening. It's not that it's not happening, but it's basically not happening. By that definition, Microsoft Edge is an agentic AI browser. It has both of those things. So now, in preview, right, the Copilot, the new Copilot features, I think actions and discoveries qualify for this. This is absolutely there. Google will be there soon with Chrome. They've announced that they're going there. They have the sidebar, of course, but they don't have the agentic stuff is not just there yet, but obviously they're doing this. And I have to say, like, I'm not an AI cheerleader, but also not an AI alarmist. But they make a pretty good case, honestly, that these things may be. And this is not that. I think it was, Vivaldi basically came out and said, look, we're never putting AI in our browser. There's plenty of ways to do AI. If you're using our browser, want to use AI, you're not ever going to be limited. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where it's like, it's just going to be AI, or everything's going to be AI. It's weird because I feel like people read less than ever. And there are people who are saying, I don't need this thing doing things on my behalf. I want to read the web. I want to browse the web. And it's like, I'm not sure many people are actually doing what you're describing per se, but
don't even know if you're doing it, just saying it.
Exactly. So I'm not sure what to say, but I do know that automating things on the back end that have access to your private data, not just your credit card information, but just your health data, whatever it might be, this is dangerous. And this does need to have secure controls in place that we know work. And right now, we don't know of any that work. We just talked about this. You're going to have someone on the next show that will make this case. And it's correct. We don't know of a way to actually effectively secure these things. Even the companies that are pushing this really hard will say, be careful. Maybe don't put your credit card in there. Start small.
Make sure your data estate is in order.
Your data estate. It's going to be your estate soon if you're not careful, because you're not going to be around. So fair enough. I don't think that this is something that will be, the advice forever, but maybe part of this AI foundation we were just talking about, one of the things they can work up is what Microsoft is working on. I'm sure these other companies are working on as well separately, which is how do we actually secure this stuff? It's a good question. Plus, Gartners, they know more about anything than anybody, so they're probably right.
I don't know. I don't know any sysadmin that was installing version 1 of anything, and that's definitely what these AI browsers are. So,
which is my only problem with this in a way, because I feel like that can be a little too aggressive, generally speaking. But with this thing,
a browser has so much privilege in a system.
That's
right. It is
and so much capability.
It is the security context for most software, right? Because most stuff, especially in the enterprise, is just running through a browser. So to have risks on that interface, to introduce a tremendous amount of risk.
And we literally have no way to secure what they're doing right now. We just don't understand it.
I mean, it's going to take time. You're going to have to take the time to put it in a honeypot kind of situation where you can watch everything that it's doing and have some sense of it. Yeah. It's such a moving target. It's like, you got enough problems. You don't need this one.
Yeah, I know. I hate to sound the alarmist thing, but I don't know. I think I have a point here. New York Times infamously suing the OpenAI and Microsoft for stealing content to train their models. The OpenAI argument essentially boils down to, we think we should just be able to steal your content. That's not a good one. So they're doing pretty good. But now they're suing Perplexity as well, because obviously this company is doing the same thing. So we'll see where this goes. But I don't know what the answer is here as far as establishing some program or programs that, I don't know, pay content
a licensing model of some kind.
I don't know. We'll see what comes out of this. I didn't write about this, but I got an email and then a letter in the mail from Anthropic, or from their lawyers, and I am owed up to $3,000 per book for the content they stole from me.
I got the same letter, and I was going to ask you what. So I looked torn.
It up, and I have 7 books.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Should
books, I mean, yes, you should absolutely decide to go into this, right? So once you factor out,
class action letter, I presume.
What's that?
It's a class action letter.
It's class action, right?
It's already been decided. The settlement's done.
I don't know that it's finalized in the sense that I don't think the judge has yet approved it.
Yeah, the judge approved it. It's done.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that the
judge stopped it and said, no, look, I have to look at this because I'm afraid that the lawyers are getting the lion's share of the money. And then looked at it and said, no, it's fine.
I don't know how I'm not sure how I missed that. You can opt out of this.
Yes, you don't get it unless you ask for it.
Right. And if you ask for it, you can't sue them again later for the same content.
Of course.
But in my case, so 7 books. Yep. Most of them have co-authors, so there's going to be some revenue sharing there, however that works out. There will be fees, et cetera. I'm sure what I end up getting is $13 per book, not $3,000 per book.
We'll see how much the lawyers take.
But when you think about like the old,
but I feel here's my quandary. Okay, I'm glad that Anthropic ingested my books. I want all of them to ingest my books. It's good for the AI, and
Would you like to have been able to opt into that before they just did it? Okay.
No, so I'm a believer in AI.
I think AI you're free to ignore it. You're free to tell them it was completely
okay. But that's why quandary, because at the same time, Anthropic is going to be paying
you would have opted in if there was an option to opt in.
For free? I don't know. It depends. So in my case, most of these books are very old. I think...
Yeah, you're not making any money on them. In fact, it's probably more money than you made in the first place.
That's the point. So if I would have made more than $3,000 on each of those books at some time. But if you flash forward 20 years or whatever it might be, this is found money in the sense that those books were never going to generate any money today. They're all for out-of-date things. One of them is a Windows XP book. I think the most recent one might have been the 2nd edition of the Windows Vista book, I think. Or maybe Windows 7. I don't remember. But
I just like that you made 2 editions of the Windows Vista book.
Yeah, well, we had to rush the first one up.
I haven't gone. You go to the database and enter your ISBN number, and it will tell you if you're eligible.
You get to search for your name. You know, you can do that.
I haven't done that yet, so I don't know. But I have 13
did it. So
books.
like I said, I had 7.
Yeah.
Look, I'll take a check from these guys. Like Perplexity has stolen my content. I know they have. I know they have.
But is it stealing? It's just training AI. Is it stealing? I don't think it's stealing any more.
You're like the lawyer, representing Perplexity here. Like, that's the question. Is it stealing?
I don't think it is.
What the New York Times is saying is, it's stealing because you're reproducing it verbatim.
Yeah.
If you go to the library and read the New York Times in the library, are you stealing it?
I don't think we're going to be able to judge this case right here on the air, like live, but this is the case. So
it's done.
The humor to this is if they had just bought these books, they would have spent a lot less money.
Yeah.
If they got it, by the way, because they were found to have done this and known they were breaking the law, technically they're on the hook for $150,000 per work.
Yeah, that's why they were happy to settle for.
That's why they were settled.
Yeah.
Yep. So they could have paid a lot less than the whatever it is, billion plus that they're going to pay out, of which, yes, the lawyers will get some huge chunk. But they also could have just done the right thing. So this is going to be the problem for OpenAI.
Well, in fact, they did the right thing with a bunch of other books. Already. And the judge said, that's good, that's fine. You don't have to worry about those books because you did the right thing.
You robbed a store, but you also went back and bought one item later. So you're an okay person. You still robbed. You still stole.
It was a legitimate fair use case and a very important one.
Okay. Well, they settled. So they're going to pay. So we'll see. I'll see what comes out of that. I mean, that's interesting. I think OpenAI and Microsoft are going to have to do the same. Or something similar.
Well, yeah, there's a precedent set now. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see what comes out of that. The OpenAI New York Times one is interesting because
it's total
OpenAI has done everything they can not to give them their chat histories, and
as they should, because that's our chats.
It's anonymized. It is. It was only started being deleted after the New York Times sued them, and they were told not to do that. And they then, they then came up with this kind of privacy argument, and it's but the judge said, but you said these were anonymized. So what's the privacy? Yeah. I don't understand what you're talking about. So this is not, basically they are going to have to turn over, I think it's 20 million ChatGPT logs, which sounds like a lot, but they also have 200 billion chat logs or whatever the number is, some crazy number. So it's some tiny percentage of the chat logs. But and the point here is to see that New York Times content has just been regurgitated back to users, which is what they're trying to find out in the case they've made. So we'll see. Let's see if I can keep this straight. Opera, yes. Opera was the company that had Aria.
Yep.
And then they just did a deal with Google on Gemini. Am I doing the wrong one?
Isn't Aria the browser guys?
The browser guys.
Yeah.
You mean the Dia guys?
Yeah.
That's Dia. Yeah.
Dia.
Aria.
I think Aria was Opera, but now we're calling it Opera, or I think we're just calling it Opera AI or AI for Opera.
Okay.
There's been a big separation between desktop and mobile browser capabilities across the board, not just AI, but just across the board, because mobile
phones are constrained.
Mobile device makers lock down their platforms to some degree, especially Apple. But Opera's kind of closing that loop a little bit, Opera for Android, which has more of an opportunity to do, to modify that product than say you do on Apple, at least worldwide. They're bringing their AI capabilities from the desktop browser to the mobile browser. So you can do the Ask AI stuff in the search bar. You can attach a file and have it use that for context. You can use the current context, but not multiple tabs for context as well. And this is like in a little mobile browser on your phone. It's kind of cool. It's turning into some full AI platform. That's pretty good. And then tied to that discussion we had earlier about real world use for AI, et cetera, I mentioned automation, and this was actually the inspiration for this, although Microsoft has this too, right? So Copilot Studio is this for the Microsoft 365 space, but Google Workspace Studio is now available for Workspace customers. So I actually just used this, and I have to say, this is the first thing I've seen that's an if this, then that type solution, but for normal people. And they have a lot of pre-built templates that basically boil down to the thing I said earlier, the types of things if Richard emails me, I always want to be notified, no matter what's going on, even if my phone is on Do Not Disturb or whatever it might be, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of them, and they span multiple categories. And this actually was the inspiration, not just for that part of the article, but for the article in a way, because the way this was described and how it looks when I use it, I thought, there we go. This is something we had for a long time. Automation is not new. I think we talked about the stuff that Apple's been doing for decades now, and Microsoft in the Microsoft space. There's many, many solutions over there. We have Power Automate today, et cetera. But these things they're complex. They're like power user tools, and this is something I think normal people can just use, and it's natural language. It's not, you're not connecting shapes in a flow chart. You're saying, you're just talking to it you can type, but you can talk and say, if this happens, do this. And it's a conversation I think that makes sense to people. So it's exciting. I mean, it's good. So some good and bad on AI, I guess, is the way to say
the
it.
nature of the beast.
The only reason I wouldn't want to take the money, I feel guilty because I'm a supporter of AI.
I like that you're,
I think AI needs to have as much genuinely good content as possible.
Yes.
We use
the
AI.
They should have bought it instead of just using everything.
Yeah, I don't
think there's enough money in the world to buy all the data, all the information in the world.
Well, you don't need all the data. He said all the good.
All they had to do was buy it. No, I mean, so a copy of my book bought from a used bookstore.
It's ingested the entire internet.
Yeah,
is it supposed to pay for everything?
It's not good.
I mean, are they supposed to pay for nothing? I don't understand. Like, it's just on the internet, so it's just free for everybody? A lot of the stuff was behind paywalls.
Yeah.
That was the problem with the New York Times stuff. They're like, this is for our customers.
Yes.
Even, I'm not saying I agree with this, but they're saying something like, someone could go to Perplexity Comment and say, I would like a summary of this New York Times article, and it generates it. Well, they're not paying for the New York Times. And the New York Times says, excuse me, this is behind our paywall. Like, you're supposed to pay for this.
Go ahead, try that just to see what you get. It's not regurgitating the content.
I'm not literally taking their side. I'm just saying it's a question. Like, I mean, it's like, we can't pay for this. It's too expensive, but we're just going to do it anyway. Yeah. It's like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, but we were just
why do you rob the bank? That's where the money is. Why do you steal the data from the web? That's where the data is.
If you believe that, you shouldn't use AI at all.
If I believe, I don't. I'm not
because
saying I believe
it's
anything.
ill-gotten gains. You're using the fruit of the forbidden tree. You shouldn't use AI.
Okay.
Well, seriously, you can't have both positions.
I don't know what we're talking about here. I'm talking about companies that have billions of dollars in funding, and I'm saying it as an individual who, if I ran my business like they ran it, the country and my state would tell me that I have a charity, not a company.
How dare you use this ill-gotten?
What do you mean? I'm talking about illegal. This is a legal thing, not a moral thing.
But you're using the benefit. You're getting the benefit. You do not understand what I'm saying?
Is it?
We're paying them for it, and they should be paying their share too.
Right. I don't understand. Like, it's okay for them to steal it, and it's okay for me to pay them for the thing they stole? I don't understand. Why?
Yeah, so, So I go into a bank. No, let's go to a jewelry store. I steal a ring, and I sell it to you. It's okay because you bought it?
I'm not saying it's okay. What do you mean?
You're using AI that was stolen from content that was stolen, which you don't like.
I'm saying it's not okay for them to have stolen it.
Yeah. But you're buying the goods that they stole.
I'm not buying the goods. I'm not. What do you mean?
You're saying it's okay for you to use AI because you're paying them for it.
No, I didn't say that.
That's the same thing as buying a ring that was stolen.
Okay. In that case, I'd have to give back the ring. I don't.
Yes, because you're using AI. Yes. You love this AI. We just talked about it.
I don't think we're actually on either side of this argument. I'm not arguing against what you're saying. I'm just describing what's happening.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying
Anthropic has settled. Like, it doesn't actually matter what anyone thinks
conflicted about taking the money because
the courts have said it. Yeah.
I would never be conflicted about taking money for something I created that someone stole. So I don't know I don't even know what to say to that. Like,
and more saliently, this is what the law has said. This is what it just come down. It's settled case law now.
I'm not getting $3,000 for each of these books. I have no doubt.
So you're okay because the judge also said that all the content that Anthropic got by buying used copies of your book and ingesting, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fair use.
Right.
So you're okay with that part.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that's what was decided. That's the law. That's the law.
But you're not okay with it. It's just that's the law.
I'm not saying that either. I don't actually have an opinion about it.
Professionals have figured this out for us. That's what professionals
literally don't.
You're allowed to have an opinion just because a judge has made a judgment. By the way, this is not a final judgment.
I'm saying I don't have an opinion. I don't think it matters.
Okay.
I've not considered it. Like, in other words, there's definitely a debate to be had about what's fair and what's not fair, and all whatever. But the law is the law, and they're paying out $1 billion. I'm going to get some of it, or I'm not. Why would I not get some of it? They did steal my content.
That's true.
I did spend time writing it. It was a long time ago.
They didn't steal it. There was a database created of pirated books, which they used. Right. And by the way, everybody else used.
I wanted to be paid by them too.
Yeah. Okay.
So if that happens, I'm happy to take it. If it doesn't, I'm not going to raise the issue. I'm not going to argue about it every week. Like, How come I'm not getting money from Meta?
What if by doing this, you undermine the entire, you in fact do say that this AI thing was a bubble, and you undermine the entire enterprise, and we no longer have AI?
I mean, that's like a science fiction speculation thing. I don't know. I mean, no, right now it is. You can't, are you going to, like, when our economy collapses 10 years from now or whatever, are you going to be able to point it back? Like, if you didn't take that money.
I think it's widely agreed there's not enough money generated now by AI to pay for the content there.
Well, there's not enough money to pay for the hardware they're using, but that's just because they haven't been able to provide enough value.
But also in the realm of this conversation, the content that they are ingesting, hardware independent of that, there's not enough money for them to pay for all that content. Mm-hmm. So if in effect this happens, you could say, you'd be saying, well, we don't have AI anymore. Is that okay with you?
I don't think those are the two outcomes. If DeepSync is just one example of how this could be done more efficiently. So I just think these are some of the best funded companies.
The efficiency
in the
of DeepSync has nothing to do with the content it's ingesting. It has to do with the hardware it's using.
Well, you asked sorry.
No, I'm talking independent of the hardware. I agree with you. The hardware is also an expense they can't afford. But let's say they could afford it. If you make them pay for the information they ingest, this is not a viable
Well,
technology.
We don't actually know that. We don't know the price. We don't know what they sell it for. Like, there's no way to know that, Leo.
It's widely agreed.
Well, it's certainly enthused by the folks that might have to pay. They certainly feel that.
So I think if I read between the lines here a little bit, I feel like what you have is a moral conundrum here.
No. There's also a practical,
or maybe a very.
There's also I have a moral conundrum. I agree about whether I should take the money, but separate from that, there's a practical conundrum, which is that AI does rely on ingesting as much information as it possibly can.
But there are a million possible ways that this could have occurred. You could say, look, this is a national security issue. It's important that we get this. The Chinese are just going to steal it anyway. We got to just do it. In which case, perhaps the United States government should be funding this or whatever. But instead, what we have is the world's richest companies funding it.
Well, independent of that, if they have to pay for everything that's behind a paywall, they only get the stuff that's not behind a paywall, right?
Okay.
Or is that a useful AI?
I don't know.
It isn't. I can tell you.
No, you're
AI
also
trained on public domain
an infinite
material.
Source of data.
AI trained in public domain.
Not proven either.
Yeah, well, I think there's a problem.
The fact that it never occurred to these people to try to even pay for this is the problem.
I agree.
Me.
I mean, look, I think the judge made the right decision that they should pay up for the stuff they pirated. And they should, and it is fair use for the stuff that they bought, even though it was bought. It wasn't, the money didn't go to you, Paul. It went to the used bookstore.
No, that's for sure. Yeah. No, I know.
But that the judge said is fair use. So I guess.
Look, we have this concept of copyright, and this lasts for some amount of time, and then it goes and some things become public domain, et cetera. They obviously wanted more recent data than that, and they decided to steal.
Yes, they should, don't you think? If you want to use AI, don't you want recent data?
Well, but you said that after I said they decided to steal it. I mean, they could have. One of the things we'll never know is what if they just went to all of the somehow. I don't know how you would do that, but like here's what we're gonna pay.
Should Google pay for all the stuff it indexes?
I don't know, Leo. I don't. I don't know.
I think it's the same question. But anyway, we'll move on.
It is actually sort of the same question. But by the way, Google has been sued in every continent on this planet for exactly what you just described, scraping news sites. And now they have a Google publishing program where they actually pay content creators. And it's because of that. It's because they stole. So actually Google, I'm not saying it's perfect, but they've addressed it in the sense that now they don't do what they did.
Yeah.
Well, to what we know. Things have changed.
I'm sorry.
I don't want. I just want to be super clear. I'm not even sure I'm disagreeing with it at all. I just don't. I don't know enough about this, and I actually don't. I know it sounds like I'm dodging this, but I really don't. I'm not sure I have strong opinions about most of this. But your question though, originally, what kicked this off was
I will take the money because you said it's okay.
Take this money. No, I don't do it because I'm doing it. I mean, look, it's perfectly fine for two rational thinking people to look at the same situation and both go in different directions.
That's the moral conundrum versus the other
that's
question.
What I mean. I think that's what I mean. I think you're actually having a moral conundrum.
You're having a visceral reaction about it.
Yeah, no. I've been thinking about this a lot.
You feel very strongly about it.
I've been thinking about this a lot. This is a fundamental question, frankly, in AI that has to be resolved. But it's one of the fundamental questions. We talk about it all the time.
Right.
Every creator says, well, wait a minute, you can't just... The Nano Banana you love so much is trained on content that some poor schlep created and is now out of work because Paul can't afford to hire them, so he's going to use Nano Banana.
Okay. But but the truth is, I was in fact paying for stock photo service.
No, we talked about this last week, and you made a very good point that isn't taking away somebody's job because I couldn't afford to do that.
It's something that never existed before. That's It's AI saves you time, AI saves you money, saves you both, but also creates this new thing.
I understand
it's not about job loss.
I understand the feelings
not at a place where we know if these technologies are economically viable. They haven't been charging what they actually cost. Yeah. They have not paid for the development costs.
So they're not there yet. They're essentially being subsidized. Yeah. And in this case, they're being subsidized by some of the world's richest companies for the most part.
But this is kind of the same thing that the whole internet in the beginning was based on. Remember the internet, everything was free. But it wasn't really. Facebook is not
why we led to you are the product.
I don't know if it was...
We had to fund it somehow.
Right.
I don't know if it was Mark Andreessen or Sam Altman. I don't remember. Someone in this space said something. It might have been Tim Berners-Lee. Someone made the point that the web could have gone in two directions. There could have been like this free ad-supported version and a paid version. And it could have been like maybe Spotify is today or something. And Spotify's a terrible company too. But in the sense that we have these choices, but we just took the easy way out and we kind of insurtified the internet because more ads. And then it becomes this terrible, terrible thing. And so what happened was some content creators belatedly after the fact, the New York Times did this, locked it down after the fact.
Said, okay, paywall.
Now we're doing a paywall. And the argument is like, maybe it should have been like this from the beginning. And then there could have been some subset of the user base that was paying more and it was helping the whole thing make sense. But we didn't do that. We made everything crappy. And then we have ads everywhere. We started with blinking and there were tower ads and banner ads and ads and pop over ads and pop under ads and the whole mess. And, you can't rewrite history. You can't redo it, but it's what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have answers.
These are big questions. They're not going to answer them today. But it's one of the things we talk about on intelligent machines all the time too.
Yeah. So, and I think that's why it's important you have that. That's good that you have this show.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's good that we're just not cheerleaders for AI, but we really want to figure this out.
I mean, I have a pom-pom here, but...
I am a cheerleader for AI, I admit it. But fortunately, Paris and Jeff and I have other opinions.
No, I mean,
as do you.
I actually don't think... I bet you aren't. You're a personal technology enthusiast, and you see this as part of that. So, of course, you see the good and the bad. You're not stupid about it. Like, you see both sides of it. Right. And that's all. That's my point. I'm just trying to.
I come from the hacker ethic going way back. One of the chief rules of the hacker ethic was information wants to be free, and that people who are kind of putting paywalls in front of information or somehow saying that you wrote your books. Yeah. You didn't create them out of whole cloth. You wrote your books based on information that was freely shared with you. And work that you did, admittedly, I'm not saying you didn't put effort into it, but I believe information wants to be free and should be free because that is the greater good of mankind. But we don't all agree on it. A lot of people say, I want to get paid for my information. I would never put a paywall up to keep people from ingesting our content, for instance.
Well, right. So
except for the club, right? There's
everything that the club does is eventually available publicly. Yeah. It's all Creative Commons licensed.
You have what I would call a small company in some ways. I have a way smaller company, and this is one of those lead by example type things. Like, I'm not saying what I'm doing is right or the best thing or the only thing, but I do the same thing. If you want to pay for it, you can, and we have whatever benefits we might have for that. but we also, anyone can come and see it if they want, And look, as a writer, I want everyone to read my stuff. Right. I want everyone to see it, but I also need to live. I need the
and we need to find a way to make that work. And that's one of the reasons for the club that works quite well. It's a chance for people to support what we do, but it isn't a paywall. Yeah. I've always felt very strongly that all of our content should be available to even to people who don't want to or cannot pay for it, including AI, by the way. Okay. But I've have hundreds of thousands of hours of content that AI has presumably ingested, and
I just feel like I got an email. I talked about this last year. Someone's like, I'd never heard of this company at the time. It was Perplexity, and they're like, I just asked it this question. It spewed out one of your articles basically, and they were like, I don't remember.
This is another larger conversation. I've had a debate over this with Steve Gibson as well.
As someone who creates something. When you see a copy of your book being downloaded for free on a torrent site or whatever it might be, however people steal from you.
But that's not what Perplexity is doing. But understand, Perplexity is a search engine that orchestrates AI. So don't confuse that with OpenAI. What Perplexity is doing is going out and searching the stuff that's online that you put out online in public and is getting that information and summarizing that using AI. So it is not. Well, it doesn't ingest your stuff to train itself. Perplexity does not train any AI models. It's not what it does.
I'm just saying, when someone republishes something I wrote, I know what that feels like. As someone who took the time to create that content, when I see my words,
people do that all the time with their browsers.
On some others, I know they do. And it hurts every time I see it. It hurts. It does.
What? Wait a minute. If I go to Thurrott.com and read an article, you're upset?
No, if someone else just steals it. I've had so many instances where
republishes it.
Sites were just republishing my articles.
Yeah, I agree. But that's not what Perplexity's doing. Perplexity's doing a search based on a user asking the same thing a browser does. That's what a browser does. Somebody types in Thurrott.com and gets your content.
You're not going to ever take away the fact that I saw my content on their site and I was not getting paid for it. So you can tell me what they do, but what I'm telling you they did was steal from me.
And the New York Times seems to agree with you.
Okay.
Because they're going after Perplexity for the same thing.
Yep. No, we'll see what happens. I'm not saying they're right and they're wrong and whatever. We'll see. But
it's legitimate to go after Meta, OpenAI, Google, who are taking your content, ingesting it, and creating AI out of it, perhaps. I mean, I'm not...
Yeah, and those are hard because you don't know what's happening until it's too late.
If I buy a browser and I use that browser to go to Thurrott.com, it's absurd to say, oh, well, now the browser company should pay Paul because I used it to go to Thurrott.com.
I never said that.
No, I know, but some people are, and that's what Perplexity does.
Okay.
Perplexity, think of Perplexity as a browser.
If the court sees it that way, because that's what's happening next.
Perplexity made a melange of 3 different sites worth of content and put it into an article of which 5/7 of it was mine. Were literal sentence I had written, interspersed with other people's work.
You could go after somebody who creates a site doing that. That's different from what Perplexity's doing. Perplexity's doing what a browser does.
What I'm telling you is, I don't care. To me, it felt exactly the same. It was my stuff being stolen by someone else. And I'm sorry, but that felt exactly the same. It was a bad feeling. I wrote about it. It was terrible.
Are we done with the AI segment?
Yes, we are.
All right, let me do the Helix ad and we'll do the Xbox segment, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. You are watching Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott, Richard Campbell, and Leo Laporte, your ad meister. This is my turn to tell you about My Mattress, our sponsor, which I love, Helix Sleep. If you're preparing for the holiday hosting season, it's a very busy time of year. It can be exhausting. You know what? It is, right? But sleep is still essential. Don't forget, while you're shopping for everyone else this season, you might want to gift yourself maybe the best gift you could get all year, a great night's sleep with a brand new Helix mattress. That's what Lisa and I did. We realized our mattress was 8 years old. And I saw somewhere it said, you should get a new mattress every 6 to 10 years because they wear out. Who would have thought? A mattress wears out. But then I thought about it and I thought, you know what? It's sagging a little bit. It's not as, Lisa gets in bed and the whole thing moves. I do need a new mattress. So we did some research and we settled on the best mattress we've ever had, the Helix Sleep. No more night sweats, no back pain from a saggy mattress. No motion transfer. The cat jumps on the bed. I don't go, earthquake. Rest assured, your Helix mattress is made to order. When you order it, it's assembled, packaged, and shipped from Arizona within days of placing your order. They've got a really great system. And when you open it up, it smells like the beautiful Arizona desert. It smells wonderful. You can also take the Helix sleep quiz. We did do this because you want to match your sleeping style and with your mattress, your preferences. Do you want a soft one, a hard one? Do you sleep on your back? Do you sleep on your side? Do you sleep on your stomach? We went through the quiz and we got the perfect mattress. And I have to say, I know because I do my sleep score every night, what a difference it made. Actually, Helix did the study. There's a Wesper sleep study they did. I think it's on their website. They measured the sleep performance of participants who switched from their old mattress of a variety of makes and models and ages to a Helix mattress. And here's what they found. 82% of the participants saw an increase in their deep sleep cycle. That's the most important part of the whole sleep cycle. Participants on average achieved 25 more minutes of deep sleep a night. That's a lot. In my case, that was double. And that made a huge difference in my overall health and well-being, how I felt every day, but also in all kinds of diseases. Participants on average achieved 39 more minutes of overall sleep per night. They slept better. They slept longer. Time and time again. And by the way, I have the same results. I know. I mean, that's just anecdotal. But that study says it's true. Time and time again, Helix Sleep remains the most awarded mattress brand. There's another measure. We saw these reviews too. Wired. They just tested 100 plus bed-in-a-box mattresses. Their top pick was the one we bought, the Helix Midnight Luxe Hybrid. The best bed you can buy online, they said. Which in my mind makes it the best bed you can buy. But anyway, that's what they said. Forbes has tested 90 beds so far this year to find the very best mattress for every sleeper. They also said, as their top pick, they recommended the Helix Midnight Luxe. It's a nice mattress. Go. You know what? You're buying gifts for everybody else. Get yourself something nice for Christmas. Go to helixsleep.com/windows. Right now, 20% off site-wide during their Cyber Monday sale extended. That's helixsleep.com/windows for 20% off for the Cyber Monday sale extended. This offer ends December 11th, tomorrow. Make sure you enter our show name into the post-purchase survey so they know we sent you. And if you're listening after the sale ends, check them out. helixsleep.com/windows. But go there right now. You owe it to yourself. Helix, HELIX, sleep.com/windows. I hear snoring in the background. I hope Paul is not asleep. Is he okay? Oh, good. All right.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Let's talk Xbox, Paulie.
No. Oh, yes. As everybody knows, Xbox consoles are selling gangbusters. And so Microsoft...
I don't think that's true. Pretty sure that's not true.
I didn't make this point. I read this somewhere, but someone made the point that there are no Xbox consoles for sale anywhere at any time, like during Black Friday.
Like no discounts.
There were no discounts. Yeah, they were not part of it. Like if you look at what Xbox did for Black Friday.
Not that there's ever been a margin on those things anyway.
Well, I think that's why. Plus the tariffs have raised the costs to them significantly.
I know, like astronomically.
Yeah.
But
we can't afford to give you a break this holiday season.
Sony is selling Microsoft. PlayStation's. Those are going gangbusters.
Sure. Do they have Black Friday deals?
Yeah, is there much of a discount on a PS5?
Yeah, only Microsoft was not part of it. To the tune of, and this was some, analyst report for the month of November. Top selling consoles were Sony PlayStation 5, Switch 2, and some thing from China no one's ever heard of that's only sold there. And Xbox was not in the top 3. It's like, it's not good. So it's kind of interesting. Call of Duty or Activision announced that they're never going to do what they just did twice, which is sell 2 Call of Duty games from the same series of games, like Modern Warfare and Black Ops, back to back. So they did this with Modern Warfare 2 and 3, the newer versions, a couple of years back, and then they just did it with Black Ops 6 and 7. They didn't say this, but the reason they're doing this is because Black Ops 7 has been one of the worst received Call of Duty games of all time.
So basically giving 7 away if you buy 6?
They're the same game. Like the thing, Richard.
I think you were installing all morning.
This morning I was bringing up a new review laptop, and I thought I'm gonna do something I haven't done. First, I'm gonna do something I have done, which is I'm gonna install all of Call of Duty, like whatever that might be.
Right.
300 gigabytes, by the way. It's 310 gigabytes, I think was the total size.
Then how many games is that actually?
So
4?
I thought it was going to be Black Ops 6 and 7, and Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and then Warzone,
right,
and zombies, or each one of them has like a zombie thing, and that's what it said it was. But the thing I hadn't done, like ever, was I played Black Ops 6 and 7, but I've never tried to play Modern Warfare 3 or 2. So
tell me, when you went to run them, it had to install some more stuff.
So I went exactly. So remember, the baseline figure was 300 gigabytes, 310, I call it 310. And when I went to run Modern Warfare 3, I had a 150 gig download. Like,
so if you've got a 1 terabyte drive in that laptop,
yep, it's half
of it for this game set.
Yeah, I later then did Modern Warfare 2. That was all. It said it was going to be about 100, 110, somewhere in there. I looked at it later, and it said it was at whatever of 86 gigs. So it wasn't actually quite 500, but it was close. It was pretty close. Yikes! So, and it's astonishing how the same these games are actually, right? Obviously, graphics has gotten a little better, but the actual engine of these games, they're all
might even be the same.
They are the same. They're the same.
So this is just the assets?
Apparently.
Just the graphical assets.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Now, on this laptop, I've never played any of these games. I spent the whole day downloading them, but so if you play Call of Duty, you will know more about this than I do. But after they did the new version of Modern Warfare 2, the thing that became Modern Warfare 3, well, they were always going to call it that, was just going to be an add-on for 2. And someone at Activision was like, guys, we make $1 billion a year on these games. We can't give this thing away as DLC. Like, it's got to be a game. So they called it Modern Warfare 3, and they tried to bulk it up a little bit, but no one was very happy with that one.
It was meant to be a DLC.
Yeah. And then Black Ops 6, they didn't intend it to be DLC. There was always going to be a 7, but it's like, it's the same freaking game. Like, they added wall running again, but it's like, there's not much new going on there. And it's astonishing, like, how big if you think Windows is a nightmare to update and then maintain or down, whatever, Call of Duty makes this thing looks like a Commodore 64 title from 1981. Like, it's the biggest, bloatiest piece of junk. I know what's going on, but anyway, Activision had gone to a system many years ago where they had 2 and then finally 3 studios making these games. So every 2 to 3 years, a different studio would come up with a different Call of Duty. And, it worked or it didn't work. It doesn't really matter. But, man, they've really stalled. So they're not going to do that again. They sort of seem to confirm, like, it's just going to be Modern Warfare, then Black Ops, then Modern Warfare, then Black Ops. Like, this is the game.
Are you saying we're at maximum bloat at this particular moment?
Peak bloat.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I don't know. But don't bet on them,
I know.
I could use up your storage, no problem.
Yeah, it's
a terabyte.
It is a waste of space.
It's amazing.
Crazy. Anyway, so it's astonishing. I didn't put this in the notes too, but I did yesterday for the first time ever. I downloaded Fortnite to a Windows 11 on ARM PC, a laptop. 80 gigabytes, by the way, still a pretty big game.
Yeah.
Cartoony graphics, whatever. But I used the Snapdragon control panel to optimize it. It's supposed to be native on the system, although I never saw a way to download the native version. I just got the x64 version. I don't know if it's just part of it, whatever. It ran great. Like, it really ran great.
So it was running the emulation. It was fine.
I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure if it was doing, I don't know.
Like there's a big flashing sign when it's running an emulation.
Well, according to Epic Games, it's native on ARM.
Interesting.
But the download I got didn't say anything ARM. It said x64. I don't know. So I don't know. But
that's interesting.
But it ran great. And I played, 5 or 7 matches, whatever. I came in 3rd one time, by the way. I was pretty proud of that.
You pretty badass.
Well, I'm probably playing against children, to be frank.
Yeah, but they're better at it than you are.
Yeah. Well, no, they're not. Okay. Not some of them, anyway.
Yeah. 97 of them weren't once.
In one game. Yeah. But it was pretty good. So it's
wait a minute, you got to third
place. Yeah.
Wow, nice.
Just like OG, whatever it's called, the base game.
I've always died like right away.
Yeah, it's hard because you land with like a pickaxe. It's like, so you got to find obviously got to find good weapons pretty quick, but it's okay. It's better than it was. Like, you used to have to sit around and wait. Now when you get knocked out of a game, it's like, do you want to just go to a different game? You're like, yeah, of course you do.
I thought the smarter thing they did, at least at the beginning, was you could watch the game progress.
Yeah, and you can
later.
You can do that.
I always enjoy.
And I saw when I was playing, like it would be like Bob is watching you now, or observing, or whatever the term is. Like, a bunch of guys like actually stuck around to see if I was going to win, and I came in third. But
I thought that was clever because otherwise you're the game over, man.
I know, you're like, now what?
Move your head.
That was fast.
Yeah, it's a good way to learn, to watch the top players finish out a game.
Exactly.
Oh, you can build stuff.
Everyone, not everyone. Most of the people I played against were building things.
Yeah.
Like the guy would throw a wall up so I couldn't shoot him or whatever, and I'm like, I have no idea how to do that. I was just shooting people, but it was pretty good.
Yeah. Fortnite started out as a build game.
It wasn't as toxic as Call of Duty, so I didn't like it as much, but.
No, that's one of the things that makes Fortnite different is there is that building component. You can
yeah.
It was originally a building game, became a shooting game later.
And it has it's cartoony looking, so it almost looks like a Disney.
Did you buy a Sabrina Carpenter outfit?
No, okay. I did not. Not 100% sure who that
Taylor
is.
Swift.
But I know she was on SNL.
No, it's funny because you can play the game as Taylor Swift.
Right.
Yep.
Well.
Did you have to buy that?
So in Call of Duty, you can play as Beavis or Butthead. You can play as Seth Rogen.
Really? Do you have to buy those?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. See, this is in-game purchases. That's where all the money is. Yeah.
I would never do that.
That's decorating. At least it's more constructive than pay to win, right? It's just decorating your character.
Yeah. Well, I was determined not to pay anything. I just wanted to see what it was like.
I've seen you do that before. Definitely not pay anything.
I don't like to play for content. I think it was pretty good. Flight Simulator 2024 is now available on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
I know that's a big deal for a lot of people.
It's a huge game.
Yep. Literally huge, like size of download.
There's another half terabyte game, right?
Easily.
Just a beast.
Easily.
But it's got most of the world's, 3D models.
Have you played the new version where you can jump out of the plane, you land the plane and you jump out?
No, so that's the thing. Like, I don't get it. Sampled it. I've there's nothing stream it. You kind of see what it's like. It's not my kind of game, but if you watch the trailer for it, the one, not the Stranger Things they just came out, but the We're Here on PS5 thing, the worlds they have are gorgeous. Like
beautiful, but you got to get there. What they don't show in those sequences is all the time to get to those moments that are really cool.
I assume they slipstream that if you want. I mean, I would hope
do a little speeding up. But still.
So it's it's a beautiful game, and whatever, like, get it out in the world, and
super realistic. Really, if you really want to get into flying, it teaches you a lot.
Yeah. This is not Xbox related, but it is video game related. And I'm one of those people who I don't like when there are things like audiobooks in a music app, or podcasts in a music app, or games, like in Netflix has games. I don't want to see ads for games when I'm on Netflix on my phone. To me, those are two different things, but this is big tech and whatever. Everything's eating everything. But they did just do something that I think is pretty cool. So Red Dead Redemption is one of the best reviewed games ever created. It's got to be in the top 5 or 10.
Phenomenal game.
It's got to be 15 years old. I think it was 2010 or 2015, whatever that game came out.
Yeah.
Still looks good, though.
Oh, it looks great.
They've done a few remastered versions, and so they just did a new one for PlayStation 5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch 2. And then if you have a Netflix account, you can play it on an iPhone, an iPad, or an Android device.
Wow.
For first time.
I wonder how that would look.
Works with a controller. It looks great. I installed it on my iPad. Actually, I can show it to you if you want to see it. It looks great.
Wow.
This game was so good they sold the soundtrack. Like it was like a Good, the Bad, and the Ugly style.
Yeah, this is Rockstar. I mean, Rockstar really knows how to paint worlds. It's a great world.
This is neat. I mean, and you could kind of say like, look, it's super old, whatever. It's like, no, this is still a good game. It's very interesting. So if you have a Netflix account, you have one of these devices, everyone has one of these devices, and you want to do this, it's included with what you're paying for.
So you know, play mode.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
It's interesting. And there's always RDR2, right? Which was
so there's
a much bigger.
And that's
Does it look a lot better? Because I must have played the newer one.
Yeah.
I don't think I played the original.
Probably does, right? I mean, but when you play on a small screen like if you especially have a phone, I think the original will still look good. Plus, will play great,
Yeah. It was fun. You'd get out, you'd ride a horse, you make a fire, shoot somebody. It was a great game. Great game. Do you think Netflix
catch tuberculosis and slowly die?
You're dead
in the game, man. I had a character I lost to tuberculosis.
You were killed by a chupacabra.
Yeah.
Do you think
you were
Netflix,
sleeping?
I killed fall off my horse.
Parenthetically, do you think Netflix is going to stay in the game business, or is this a failed?
Well, if they buy Warner Brothers, I felt like they were maybe walking away from this, but then they did this, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe they're still trying to make it. I don't pay attention to any of it, but when they did this, I was like, oh.
Well, this is the funny thing, because
you just go to the App Store. You don't launch Netflix and play the game from there. You actually download it.
It's just another game. It's just another game.
Just another game.
What's the Netflix association? It's just made them a game publisher.
If you have Netflix on the device and it has the account there, so you already
have the account.
It just works.
Yes, yeah. But I didn't understand it. And I have a feeling. Well, so that's the really fascinating.
Think about their model, right? They buy content and they put it online, and this is what they did here, right? So some third-party company did this remastered version. It's got some Undead Nightmare add-on, et cetera. They were probably different companies or teams working on the different console versions. And someone's did the mobile versions. And so, they probably put it out like, who wants to publish this?
Right.
And Netflix is like, we'll do it.
But it's not just that.
Just like they do.
They have a lot of games. And they're not streaming. I thought, they're going to stream.
No,
but it's not. It's just a game.
It's not. I'd never done it before. I obstinately ignored the game stuff. I hate that it's in the app. Like, I hate it.
I agree.
That's my own little attitude problem. But
my prediction.
I just wonder what it does to the battery.
It's just the same as playing the regular game. It's the same as a regular game.
I wonder. Yeah, I wonder if it's optimized.
Look, there are way more powerful games than this. Like some of the newer Resident Evil games are in there. I think Assassin's Creed is or will be soon. Where these are like AAA games, like from the past 5 years.
They're going to get them on a phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a newer iPhone or an iPad have like awesome processors and GPUs.
It speaks to how much horsepower is in a phone now.
Yeah. I mean, it will heat that sucker up. I'm sure it kills the battery. But
that's what I was thinking.
But it will play. Like, it will play pretty good, I bet.
Yeah, probably look great, too.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So. Yeah.
I was very confused by the Netflix story because Friday, Netflix announced they bought Warner Discovery.
I know.
And then, so I talked about it on Twit. And then Monday, along comes David Ellison, Larry Ellison's son, and says,
we'll see.
I'm going to give you 50% more. How about that? And because they have money from, the Saudi Arabia, they have all these sovereign wealth funds, and they can overpay. I think they're going to overpay for it. Plus, it's said, sources said that Ellison, Skydance, went to the president and said, by the way, if you approve this merger, we'll make CNN more to your liking.
Jeez.
That's a way to get a good deal.
Well, but that is in an authoritarian world. That's what you do. You say, hey, you're the one who's going to decide whether or not this gets regulated.
None of these companies are good. I'm not voting for anyone to win this, but the only thing I will say is the Netflix model, whatever anyone thinks of it. I mean, there's a lot more of it. So there are fewer really good, high quality things anymore, but there are still some. This is HBO. This is going to be a good body of content. So if they do get it, I mean, I'm sure, just like Microsoft 365, I'm sure they'll raise the price eventually to pay for it. But
as long as I'm raising conspiracy theories, there's also, this came from Variety, the theory that Netflix just wants to put movies out of business. Warner is, it turns out, one of the last movie companies still making movies, spending a lot of money on movies. And the concern in Hollywood is if Netflix buys them, they're going to really
go away.
And the only thing Ted Sarandos at Netflix said, the only thing we might change is the exclusive window, because there's a window of exclusivity for theaters.
Yeah. And that window has become nothing, right?
Right. Well, if you make it a day, you're killing theaters either way, because people just say, well, I'll wait till tomorrow and I'll watch it at home. Yeah.
So I'm not defending Netflix. Like, this is sort of like the AA thing. I'm not taking their side or anything like that, but Netflix is one of those democratization of what I'll call movie making or film, whatever you want to call this, where Hollywood has given up on kind of smaller movies because they're just not profitable, and people aren't going to the movies as much. The theater, like actual
movies
theater,
suck.
So you only have like
terrible.
Marvel movies, like these big budget movies that they know are going to make their money back. So everyone's like, oh, we're not going to have experimental movies. And it's like, well, actually, I feel like that stuff is more likely to show up on Netflix or HBO Max or one of these streaming services.
Look at Frankenstein. Look at Coda.
Yes,
not
like
Coda.
that Frankenstein, that movie, that would never have been in the theaters, not in 2025,
Yeah, well, they're still, in order to win Academy Awards, they still are putting it in theaters for a week just so they can get an Academy Award.
But that's the system, right? I mean, they're playing the
system. That's only going to be for a little while longer. Yeah. So somebody's saying, well, why would Netflix kill the content engine? They're not going to kill the content engine. They're still going to make movies. They're just not going to put them in movie theaters, is the idea.
Right. Yeah.
Because a movie theater competes with Netflix.
Yep. So there are some good Netflix movies. I mean,
Frankenstein was supposed to be incredible.
Frankenstein is maybe a good one.
Yeah.
But, even someone like Ryan Reynolds, who I love, if you ever watched it, like Red Shift, what was that thing called? Red Shift or Red something, whatever it was. Some Netflix thing. So it was him, The Rock, the woman who was Wonder Woman, Gal
Gadot. Yeah.
Gal Gadot. Yeah. They were all paid tens of millions of dollars to be in this hunk of unbelievable crap. And it's like this beautiful looking movie that's all backdrops from places they never visited. They weren't there.
Right.
It was supposedly taking place all over the world, but you can tell by they sent the money in like 3 people, and the rest of it was just garbage. So it was beautiful garbage, but garbage.
What was the name of this? What was that?
Red Notice.
Red Notice, thank you.
Oh.
It's forgettable. It's immediately forgettable.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This is going to be good and bad.
Netflix makes some, remember Gray Man? It was awful.
Yeah, it's another one of those movies.
They make some
looks
terrible movies.
It's stupid. But they still have good shows like, Wednesday. If that's probably not our demographic exactly, but it's really well made. Great actors. Yeah. Great. It's Danielle.
They have Knives Out. They have the third Knives Out, don't they?
Yep, that's coming out on Christmas Day. I can't wait to see that. So it's good stuff.
Anyway, we're in a very, very rapidly changing world. That's just another
for sure.
And that's the thing. We're all so afraid of change. You don't want to get rid of the movie company that made the original King Kong, if that's what, and it's like, yeah, but that was 1931, guys.
Honestly, I just don't want Larry Ellison to own it. That's all I care about.
I 100% agree with that. I don't want him having anything.
That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Talk about tech billionaires you're concerned about.
Yeah. That guy is a rotting carcass of terribterribleness.
And I know it's his son, David, but look at him. Is it really?
Yeah. Damien Oman Ellison, that guy? I don't know.
All right, we're going to take a break, and then the back of the book is coming up. We've got tips. We do have an app. We have a Run as Radio, and we have a Pennsylvanian brown beverage.
And a little bit of story behind it, too.
Oh, a little bit of a story?
That's when okay, let's be clear. I went totally into the deep rabbit hole. And
George Washington drank here.
It's going to go for a little while. George Washington does play into the story.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm in Pennsylvania. I have no choice. I couldn't not.
Right. All right, well, we'll get to that in just a moment. You're watching Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell. Our show today brought to you by Venshin. I had a nice conversation with Glenn over at Venshin, and I was really impressed. Really impressed. Venshin helps you with AI, in a big way. AI is supposed to make things easier in your business, right? But for a lot of teams, it's made the job harder. But see, now you got some heroes on your side. Venshin has 20 plus years of global engineering expertise, and they can cut through the hype and help you use AI to your advantage. They build AI-enabled engineering teams that make software development faster, cleaner, and calmer. You'll like that. Calmer. Clients typically see at least a 15% boost in efficiency. And we're not talking hype. We're talking real engineering discipline. That's what you really need to apply to this. And I know, your teams, they are top engineers. This is why you want to call in Venshin. There's another thing Venshin does that might maybe even be the best starting point with them. They have really fun, interesting, interactive workshops about AI. And the whole goal of it is they sit down with your team And they work to find practical, safe ways to use AI across delivery, across QA. It's a great way to get started with Venshin, to test their expertise and to focus your AI projects. Whether you're a CTO, a tech lead, or a product owner, you won't have to spend weeks and you may have already started this process, figuring out tools and architectures, what model you use. Venshin has the expertise to help you, and a system in their workshops to help you assess your AI readiness, to clarify those goals, and then to build and outline a practical plan of the steps to get you where you want to go without the headaches. And if at that point you need help, you say, I think we need help on the engineering front, their teams are there ready to jump in, either as a development partner or as a consulting partner. They've got real expertise. It's the most reliable step to take after your proof of concept. I bet you've been in this position. I know we have. Let's say you're building a promising, your prototype. You're doing it on Lovable, let's say. All right. And you got it. It's working. It's running well in tests. But I mean, it's not a finished product. What's next? Do you open a dozen AI specific roles just to keep moving? I got a better idea. Bring in a partner who has already done this across many industries, somebody who can expand that idea into a real full-scale product and do it without like tearing up the roadmap, without disrupting your systems, without slowing your team down, working with you to get this thing out. Real people with real expertise and real results. They're really impressive as heck. Learn more, VenshinTeams.com, and see how your team can build smarter, faster, and with a lot more peace of mind. Or get started with your AI workshop today. VenshinTeams.com/twit. That's VenTion teams.com/twit. VenshinTeams.com/twit. Say hello to the team. They're great people. Now, let us talk about your tip of the week. It's the back of the book. Paul
Phrase.
What did you call?
I said hooray.
Hooray.
Hooray. It's back of the book.
Hip, hip, hooray.
So I'm going to mix and match tips and apps because it's the central tip is just de-insurifying Windows 11, right? I've talked about Tiny11 Builder a lot lately, but it doesn't do everything. So you need a couple of other things, but you also need this solution for, I already have Windows 11 installed. I have all my apps installed. It's all customized. I've got, signed in with my accounts. I want to de-insurify this thing. I don't want to reinstall from scratch, right? And there are many solutions for that. I've looked at at least a couple, maybe 2 or 3 on hands-on Windows over the past year or so. But I just went back to one of the ones that I thought was one of the better ones. And I wanted to compare it to Tiny11 Builder. So over here you have this clean install computer you did with Tiny11 Builder. Here you have this normal Windows 11 install. Can I get this to that? And the answer is yes, as it turns out. I think. I mean, so far. This one I haven't been using steadily for as much time, but I've done it on multiple computers. It seems to be the case. And so
work excludes well on ARM too?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yep. So this one is called Win11 de-bloat. You can find it on GitHub. It's a PowerShell script. The way it used to work is you would download the script, and then you had to type in a specific command line to turn off all the controls that prevent you from doing anything terrible to your computer. It's only for that session. You make the changes, and then you close the terminal window, and those permissions go away. The way it is now is they actually have this command line you run that does effectively the same thing, but you just copy the command line from the GitHub page, paste it in the terminal, and then you go through the script. Like Tiny11 Builder, there are certain things it doesn't do, and it's in fact they're the same things, and so
for the same reason.
Mostly. So Rufus is, instead of using the Microsoft tool to create installation media or just launching the process straight off the ISO, use Rufus to create the installation media, and it will take away the forced Microsoft account sign-in, the hardware requirements, et cetera, et cetera. There's a bunch of other stuff, but those are the big ones. Microsoft or MSEdgeDirect, also available on GitHub, will take away the parts of Windows 11 that require to use Edge, like the widget stories or search results that always go to Edge, even if you chose Chrome or Brave or whatever.
So you de-edgify?
You de-edgify. You can leave Edge on there if you want. Mm-hmm. That's a different story. We'll get to that in a second.
Never heard anybody.
But you can redirect the Edge links to go to your browser.
Right. To follow the browser default.
Right. There's that. And the most recent one, I was talking to you about this.
Yeah, you were blown away by this.
Yeah. And this is one also x86 and ARM. It's called ExplorerPatcher. This one's been around for a long time. Used to have a slightly different name, but this is just a utility run. It does a bunch of things, but I do basically one thing, which is I keep the Windows 11 taskbar. I like it the way it is. It's fine. That to me is not a problem. But Explorer is this app that, like, by which I mean File Explorer, comes up very slowly. It's unreliable. And all of these problems are tied to this WinUI front end that they've done in recent years. Instead of rewriting it, they've taken the old Win32 app and they've modernized parts of it. Not all of it, just parts of it, the UI parts. And they're slower than anything. They're terrible. So this thing lets you go back to the Windows 10 or Windows 11 versions of File Explorer. Also a version, the early Windows 11 version where they have a non-WinUI address bar area. But I use Windows 10. That has the big ribbon, which is ugly, but you minimize the ribbon, so it's a nice kind of streamlined look. These things together create this version of Windows that doesn't nag you, doesn't bother you, doesn't do things wrong. Like it just works the way you would expect it to work. Like you click a link and it opens you to your browser. You expect that, right? Tiny11 Builder and Win11 de-bloat both allow you to get rid of Edge if you want to uninstall it, which you can do legally or in the box, if you will, in Europe. But you can do it anywhere with these things, and you can get rid of OneDrive if you want, which you can actually just uninstall OneDrive. But Win11 de-bloat does get you to that same place as Tiny11 Builder if you wanted to.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a script, so it's not for everyone, I guess. But they have 3 top-level options. I never do the first one. The first one is that person's recommendations for what to remove. And I feel like, no, you want to go through this.
Think more.
Yeah, you can go through a list of apps that are installed on your computer. Check the ones you want to get rid of. We'll get rid of them, including Edge and OneDrive, if that's what you want. Cool. Gets rid of telemetry. It disables, some of these things are things that you can just do otherwise, but it gets rid of all the tips, suggestions, all that kind of junk, all the Bing junk, the Windows Spotlight, whatever, there's a bunch of stuff. There's one little fun thing in here for me, and I'm sure there's a reg key. This is just a reg key. I just never found, even looked up. But in doing keyboard shortcuts, sometimes if you hold your finger down too long on, it's probably Control, I don't remember which key, but you get that sticky keys thing comes up, and it makes a horrible bong sound. You can just disable it.
Yay!
It's like, yay, that's fun, so it's good. So I'm gonna actually look at more of these, but I feel like even where we are today, if you want to do a clean install, do Tiny11 Builder with Rufus. If you already have the install, you don't want to screw around with it, or you don't want to reinstall, I should say. You are going to screw around with it. Use Win11 de-bloat, and then in either case, use ExplorerPatcher for File Explorer, and use the MSEdgeDirect to actually have the thing use your browser like you wanted in the first place, right? So there it is. That's pretty much it. I mean, that pretty much does anything anyone should ever want. I'm going to look at other utilities, but this is pretty much it. It's good.
Making a clean version of Win11.
Yeah, God help us. But
it's nice.
My life's work.
Yeah. Well, now that it's the only version of Windows.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
good to get it into a shape that makes it a little happier.
Yep.
Well, that was very exciting.
It's a good one.
Maybe we could talk about Runner's Radio right now?
You want to do that?
Why not?
All right. Every so often I get a good story show, and Liam Wesley, my friend, is an excellent storyteller. And when I found out what he'd done during the CrowdStrike, event, I said, we got to sit down and talk about this. It's a long show, by the way. We went over 40 minutes because there's just so much to talk about.
Wait a minute. You think 40 minutes is a long show?
Well, I make half-hour shows. 30.
Okay.
This was the 40.
This is 33% longer than usual.
And, sysadmins don't have a lot of time. If my show gets too long, people get grumpy at me.
So I'm sure people are grumpy at me, but I never listen.
So Liam was head of engineering for a company called Free Market FX. So there's a fintech startup. They do foreign currency trading. So a lot of their stuff is regulated, real time, and so on. And specifically, they did not run the Falcon sensor suite by CrowdStrike. So when the CrowdStrike event happened, which was July of 24, we all remember that exciting day, and wiped out a lot of machines, you would think those guys were fine, except that they don't live by themselves, right? They have suppliers and customers and services that they're dependent on. And some of them, they were disrupted. And so, the question for a head of engineering when an event like this is, are we affected? And the answer, is not that simple to actually get to. No, we're not a customer of that. And now it's not like all of their vendors and things are talking about it either. So he really had to kick off a call chain to find out who's, depending on this, what can we expect to be down? Is it a regulatory problem that they have to report to admit that, part of their services is impaired by other people's outages? So just the conversation that we had about all of the thought that had to go into how do we respond to an event, even though we're not even a customer of this product, because we depend on other people, because that's just the nature of software today, the interleavings. It really broadened my thinking about just what disaster response even looks like in this day and age, in this SaaS and cloud world where your dependencies are bigger than you think. And you kind of want to know the software bill of materials of every company you interact with, whether that's possible or not, just to be aware of the potential scope of issues. So well worth the 40 minutes. Liam's a great storyteller, and it was an unbelievable day for him.
Very nice. Yeah. It's Run as Radio. This week's Run as Radio. Whoops. Go. Make you full screen.
Came out this morning.
Nice. Incident management. Yeah, that must have been a interesting.
It was a very long day for him. And he happened to wake up really early, and so was literally like a half hour ahead of everybody else that day when he saw that was going on. And immediately, they had a playbook. They did know what to do. So he was working on answering questions before they were asked.
It's one of those days, like, you can always ask somebody, do you remember where you were when Kennedy was shot? That kind of thing. It's one of those days. You remember
where were you when CrowdStrike?
When CrowdStrike struck.
When CrowdStrike blue screened computer servers all over the world. Wow. I would say we feel that same way about Cloudflare going about, but it keeps happening. So we start to, what day are we talking about?
But the second one wasn't their fault. So it was that React, that really awful React law. Which, by the way, if you are suffering,
do not throw stones in these situations. My house is way too much made of glass to toss any stones. All I can do is empathize. I have been the man on fire too. Yeah. So
you've been on pager duty.
I know how hard it is. It's a very tough day.
So
and sometimes many days.
What happens after a tough day?
Drinking.
Yeah.
And I get to drink with my friend today. We'll use the little paper cups. They're very cute. This bottle's already open.
Here? What is going on?
This is a bottle of Old Farm, Pennsylvania straight rye whiskey.
Old Farm, Pennsylvania straight rye whiskey.
Old Farm, remember.
And it's specifically a Pennsylvania whiskey, which got me chasing down whiskey making in Pennsylvania, right? And curiously, because it is a rye whiskey, we were just last week when I was in Lithuania talking about rye. So I was kind of lubed up, so to speak, on the rye thinking, and just that, it's an old grain. It's been around a long time. And it was actually the original whiskey in America. Now, it's not the first booze that was in America. The first alcohol manufactured in America would likely be beer, because that was just safe to drink versus the water. But the first distilleries were all rum distilleries. Long before the United States was the United States, those colonies on the East Coast, the English were growing and making sugar in the Caribbean, and they'd take the molasses to the colonies in the East, and they would make rum. Also, even all the way back to the 1600s, we talk about original alcohol in the colonies, apple cider. Because of the propensity to bring, apples are originally from Kazakhstan, of all flippant things, but the seeds propagate extremely well. They grow almost everywhere. But unless you're grafting apple trees, because apples are inherently genetically unstable, the only way you get good tasting apples is from grafting from good tasting apple trees.
Apples are inherently genetically unstable.
That is correct. Which is to say, if you take the seeds from an apple you like the taste of and you plant them, you will not get that apple.
That's fascinating.
Right. The way you get that apple is to take a branch off of the tree of the good tasting apples and graft it onto another apple tree. And so people not knowing this, when they planted all these apples all over the place, got terrible apples. But you know what you do with terrible apples? You make them into booze.
Yeah, there you go.
And you can ferment apples just fine. And in fact, because the water content is so high, you can do apple jacking.
Yeah.
And apple jacking is just freezing the water out of the cider to increase the alcoholic concentration. So you don't need to still, you don't need anything.
No, we used to. It was like I was a kid. We'd go to the apple picking orchard, and then you'd get a big jug of apple cider, and you'd put it on your porch because it was freezing cold. Yeah, and it would slush up, and then you get rid of the slush, and you got
skim the ice out, and you get stronger, right? Yeah. And this is the way of things, and you can see
it
how
wasn't
it even
liquor exactly. I mean, it wasn't super strong.
More of a beer. It's a cider.
Yeah,
but
cider.
You can see how this even happened by accident, where you dump apples in a barrel, let those eventually go soft and ferment, and then same process happens. Right now, we've done it far more intentionally. But when you talk about domestic whiskey production in the original colonies, it was rye from Europe. And there's a good reason for that, which was that rye grew really well in the Northeast, in those colder areas. Wheat, not so much. And corn comes later. Corn is actually a North American crop, and it mostly grew on the west side of the Appalachians, did not grow well on the east side. So we eventually get to corn. But initially, because it grew absolutely everywhere and it was needed for fodder for animals, it was good for cover and so forth, they planted a lot of rye, something we talked about last week on the Starka episode. Barley also was grown, although it's a little tougher to grow, and you needed it for beer and bread, so you wouldn't drink it as much. The fact that you use rye as a cover crop is not even intended to be eaten, because you even growing the versions that aren't particularly good, but the animals like it. It also is often made into booze first, and so it was far more prevalent, and there was more than you needed, and so often it was being made into alcohol early on. So, if you think about the original colonies, right, they are not the same as the states they are today. They're mostly focused on the east side of the Appalachians. Everything on the west side is very much still Indian territory. In fact, there was negotiated treaties that were repeatedly broken to have control of the land on the east side, and just the coastal and just partly inland. And so when we talk about Pennsylvania, this is one of the very early colonies, founded in 1681, William Penn, the Royal Land Grant. There was already people there in that land grant, including in the southeast. There was an area called New Sweden. And so this is now the province of Pennsylvania in British America. And Penn was a bit of an egalitarian. He established an interesting set of laws that with a lot of religious freedom and economic mobility. And he also worked hard with the Lenape Indians in the area to negotiate more land, and starts creating some of the early counties, including the Bucks, the Philadelphia, and Chester counties, which is roughly where we are today. And those treaties continue literally for decades, largely pushing the Indians further and further west, right? How the Indian perception of land is not ownership, but use. And so they were more flexible in that, because there was other land to use, but it reaches a certain point where it becomes a crisis. Now, before the Revolution in the 1750s, the American colonies are growing, and they're starting to get onto the west side of the Appalachians. This is where you get the Ohio Company, who's now working with the Iroquois Confederacy, which was a collection of fairly organized native groups. And this is before the Canadian border and any of that sort of stuff exists. And this group decides that they want to build a fort and settlement at the confluence of the Allegheny and the Monongahela rivers. This is where Pittsburgh is today. Okay, there's a little triangle point where these two rivers come together, become the Ohio River. This scares the French, right, which is be the northern part above that, which will eventually be Canada, but that point is largely controlled by France. And again, we talked about this when we were talking about Missouri and the Louisiana land purchase, where New France stretched all the way from the Gulf of Mexico right up to Hudson's Bay. So the French response was to build other fortifications further up on the Ohio River area that we now know as Erie, Pennsylvania. And that's around the time that the French and Indian War lights off. Now, this is also called the 7 Years' War, all depending on how you measure it. It's either 7 years, 9 years, or 23 years, because numbers are hard. In fact, Winston Churchill calls it the first real world war, because the conflict is really between Britain and France. And while it may start with the native allies in North America, it also involves a land war in Europe, which is the Prussians and the Austrians, along with the English and the French, and also in India, where there's a conflict between the Mughals and the English and the French there too. So, and, the argument is that the first shots of this world war start in Pennsylvania by a 22-year-old George Washington. So Washington came from a well-to-do family, and he felt that it was appropriate for him to join the militia. And so as this conflict over what would become what's known as Fort Duquesne, before the English could build on that site and what would be Pittsburgh, the French pushed them out and they moved out, and then the French built the Fort Duquesne in that location. So Washington put together a force to come and push them back, and in the process ended up in a battle called the Battle of Jumonville Glen. Some call it an ambush, may have just been a surprise. One of the officers was killed in the process, and Washington himself was captured, but then later released. And then they were sent back. And again, these could be called the first shots of the 7-Year War. About a year later, in 1755, the British respond by sending General Edward Braddock and a full set of regular troops. Now, they perceived the British regulars as infinitely superior to the colonial militias, and so they couldn't actually join as peers. They would all be inferior to any of the regulars. And so Washington, who still wants to be involved, manages to get himself to be an aide-de-camp to the general, to Edward Braddock. They then head back to the same area in the Monongahela Valley, about 10 miles from Fort Duquesne, and there's an accidental conflict again. They sort of run into each other by surprise, and it becomes a bit of a rolling battle. And the general gets hit. Washington even had a couple of horses shot up from him. There's almost 1,000 of the British regulars and colonists that are killed, to only about 20 of the French and Indian forces. Washington miraculously is unharmed. They found bullets in his jacket, shrapnel in his hair, but no injuries at all. And he helps organize the retreat and evacuation very well, and is encouraged by the general to pull the forces together. He's lauded as the hero of Monongahela. And that's sort of his first mark as a young soldier. At that point, I think they make him a colonel. And he goes on to continue to be a part of that conflict right in this area of the valley in the western part of Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh. Now, largely, this is over by 1759 when the French realize they've been cut off at Fort Duquesne, so they destroy the fort and retreat, and then they reestablishes British control over the area. Washington returns home and tenders his resignation from the peninsula entirely, surprising everyone. Don't worry, he'll do that a few more times. But now it establishes, credibility as a significant soldier. And one would argue that the debt incurred by the worldwide conflict that is the 7 Years' War is one of the main reasons that the English raised taxes on the colonies so severely to try and pay things off, which of course becomes the justification for an American Revolution. Now, by the Revolution comes around, and of course, a lot of this happens in Philadelphia, right? This is the First Continental Congress in 1774, and the Western counties, including Westmoreland in Pennsylvania, are now founded. And that's when they form the Continental Army under, once again, George Washington, who's a few years older, and they have the Declaration of Independence here. And then This is by 1776, as the war starts up, the William Penn's family are largely ousted from control of Pennsylvania. Things are reorganized. This is when the Delaware part of Pennsylvania spins off to be its own state. And so that Delaware becomes the first state to ratify the Constitution in 1787, and then Pennsylvania the second. And of course, Washington becomes president in 1789. And of course, both George Washington and John Adams are headquartered in Philadelphia until the White House in Washington, D.C. are actually defined. So by 1789, you got this new federal government, and like every other conflict you're in, they've incurred a lot of debt. Cheers.
By the way, those are the exact same paper cups that George Washington used.
Totally, yes. 100%.
Yeah. The old paper cup.
So the U.S. Fed has about $54 million debt. The various states combined have about $25 million worth of debt. And if you've ever watched Hamilton, you know that Alexander Hamilton convinces the Congress to consolidate all the debt in 1790. He's put in as many import duties as he feels are reasonable to try and pay this debt down. So he proposes the first excise tax on domestically produced goods. And he focuses on distilled spirits. Largely because they're kind of a luxury product anyway, and he figured it would be the least objectionable tax. Now, it's 1790. There's about 75,000 people living in Western Pennsylvania, centered around Pittsburgh. And part of the rules of this tax, you got to realize the west part of Pennsylvania at this time is the hinterlands. It's nowhere.
It still is, by the way.
Yeah. I like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's good fun. They got a hell of a hockey team, too. And part of the rule of this tax is you have to pay for it in specie, in coin. And in that part of the world at that time, coins are just rare. Most products are paid for in barter, often in whiskey. Like that's kind of a normal way to do things. So the tax is set up in two different ways. There's a flat fee per still, which is fairly expensive, but it's a flat rate for the whole year, or you pay by the gallon. And so big producers all pay flat fees because they produce enough that the cost of the tax relative to the amount of alcohol it produces is reasonable. The small producers can't afford to do it. So all these small producers in the West are really resisting it, and they refuse to pay the tax. And so they get fined. And if you get a fine, you can protest to show that it's unfair. But the only way to do that is to go to a federal court, which would be in Philadelphia, some 300 miles away, which you'll have to do by horse, which takes time, costs money, then you need somewhere to stay. So again, the West feels very, unfairly treated, and they fight back. And the way they remember, a lot of these guys are veterans of the Revolutionary War, right? They feel like it's taxation without representation once again. But one of the things they do is they just discourage anyone from being a tax collector. They also go after anybody who would dare rent space to a tax collector. And so literally years go by without any tax collectors in and around Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania. There's also a new Indian war going on, the Northwest Indian War, and there's not a lot of support coming out of the federal government to protect the colonists on the west side as well. So they're good. They're feeling pretty hard done by. And the focal point around all this is within a year or so, this is 1791, is these new counties like Allegheny, which is where Pittsburgh is, and Fayette and Washington and Westmoreland. A guy named Robert Johnson, who actually tries to be a tax collector in the area, is grabbed by a mob and tarred and feathered, which sounds hilarious, except that it actually involves spreading hot tar on the guy. Like, it's really freaking horrible. And anybody that tries to support him is also tarred and feathered. So it gets pretty violent. And Hamilton's freaking out because it's, questioning the federal government entirely, like it undermined the whole thing. And so they end up putting out more proclamations on this. And it's the whole situation peaks by 1794. It's been 4 years since the thing was down. There's hundreds of men involved on both sides. And it finally gets to a level where they call it a sedition or a rebellion. And so Justice James Watson calls out the militia. Washington, who's now the president, actually leads that militia, and he rolls out with 12,000 troops in his huge display of force and negotiates without a shot fired the end of the risky rebellion. So
it's the fun rebellion.
Yeah. And again, I think Washington did his best to handle it. It was a very difficult situation. The taxes are, of course, amended. They get away with the species requirement. They allow for trials in state courts instead of just federal courts, so it becomes a little bit more practical. The whole thing's very tough. And in all of this, comes the story of making Pennsylvania whiskey. So if you talk about the original names for Pennsylvania whiskey going back that far, you talk about a German immigrant named Heinrich Oberholzer, who will be anglicized to Henry Overholt. And Overholt's a very well-known name in whiskey. So he had been distilling in Buck County.
Old Overholt.
Old Overholt, yes.
Overholt.
So he'd been distilling in Buck County, that's in eastern Pennsylvania, and as the chaos of the 1790s settles out, he and all of his extended family and others moved to the Westmoreland County. So Conestoga wagons, the big covered wagons and so forth, to go 250 plus miles through dirt roads largely built by the Army through the Revolutionary War and the Whiskey Rebellion, all the way to Westmoreland County, right where all of those battles for during the Indian War and the Whiskey Rebellion had taken place. They buy a huge amount of land in that area, multiple families setting up simultaneously. This area is now known as West Overton. Now, Henry Overholt does make whiskey, but it's his son, Abraham Overholt, or A. Overholt, that becomes sort of famous in the whiskey business. He and his brother took over from their father at one point, but he eventually buys the brother out in 1810 and makes Overholt whiskey, sells it all through the Civil War, builds additional distilleries in areas like Broad Ford. He finally passes away in 1870. His family takes it on, and then it's handed off to another famous name in the area, Henry Clay Frick, who takes it over. He's the grandson he is related in the family, just got a different last name, but he is related to Abe. And he gets a relationship, he partners up with a guy named Andrew Mellon, one of the original robber baron types, 1881. And Mellon becomes Secretary of the Treasury in 1921. So that's when Prohibition comes in. And so he gets a medicinal license for Overholt to maintain production through that whole thing. By the way, that original farm and all this facility and so forth in the 1920s was made into a museum. You can go to it today. And Overholt was then acquired by National Distillers in 1935 after Prohibition was over, which is later acquired by Beam and Suntory in the 1980s. And so today, Beam still makes a whiskey called A. Overholt Monongahela Mash. And again, they're talking about that particular region. And what makes it distinct is it's a mash bill of 80% rye and 20% malted barley, which is very much the same mash bill that Abraham would have made in the early 1800s. But does it really follow what exactly is Monongahela whiskey? So first thing you notice is it's a whiskey made in America with no corn in it, right? It's rye and barley. But it was made in a different kind of still. We've only ever talked about pot stills and column stills. But in 1800, the column still hasn't been invented yet. And pot stills are not particularly efficient, especially with rye, because rye foams so much. So they use a different kind of still, a still that's essentially not known today, called a 3-chamber still. And that 3-chamber still will only put out about 50% alcohol at the end of its processing, which is pretty low for a typical barreling. But then they'll put it into wooden barrels in dunnage storage, which is your earthen floors to sort of moderate temperature. And under those conditions, after 4 years of aging, still 50%, really doesn't lose a lot of alcohol that way. Now, until I had done this research, I had never heard of a 3-chamber still. So I did a lot of digging on this, and I'm not alone. There's a guy named Todd Leopold out of Colorado who's a whiskey producer and historian who was also fascinated about it and has actually built one, because they largely all disappeared during Prohibition. But it's actually a kind of column still that has 4 distinct chambers in it. The topmost one is just a preheater. They put the wash into it and warm it up with a coil cube. The lower 3 chambers each are a kind of small still. The bottommost chamber, chamber 3, has been run the longest. So they're literally moving from layer to layer and running the still for extended periods of time. Although each given run is only about 20 minutes. And so they'll quickly take the heads, hearts, and tails out and empty the chamber 3 and then move everything in chamber 2 down to chamber 3, everything in chamber 1 down to chamber 2. And then the stuff that's in the preheater goes down to chamber 1. And then they fill the preheater with more of the mash and go again. And so it's heated by steam that stacks through the different chambers, and it's actually the steam that carries the alcohol. So this is relatively low temperature steam, below boiling, but it's got enough heat in it that it's picking up alcohol, lots of reflux involved, and then ultimately goes through those coils at the top, which is where the preheater is, before it goes into the condenser and they collect the alcohol. So these cycles are really short. They're about 20 minutes, but they run all the time. So it's not as continuous as a column still, but it's a heck of a lot faster than a pot still. But it means that there's multiple treatments taken to the same mash in each of those chambers. And so it pulls a lot more flavor out of rye. So you're running at a lower temperature with a lot less urgency, so you don't have the foaming problems, but you do get to really extract flavors deeply. And this is because there's more things going on in the rye than just the starch being converted into sugars, which brings up our next issue, which is that modern cereal rye has been hybridized and optimized to increase its starch levels from where it used to be about 60% in the old style rye is over 80% today, at the expense of a bunch of flavor. And so if you're really going to make a traditional Pennsylvania Monongahela rye, you need one of these old ryes, right? So not the Dankos or the Haslets or the current ones. You need a low starch rye. And back in those days, the popular rye in the area was called a Rosen rye. And it's making a bit of a comeback today, although most of the places that are making the rye are actually down in Kentucky. But that guy, Todd Leopold, used a Bruzy rye, which is only about 60% starch. You got to use a third more to get the same amount of alcohol out of it, but it gives you a completely different flavor. And again, you would not use that rye in a pot or column still. You need the 3 chambers still. So you have this combination of a different kind of rye and a different kind of still to make a really special kind of whiskey that I don't think anybody's made yet. Leopold's done his first run with this stuff. It's called the Leopold 3-Chamber Rye. Again, it's out of Colorado, so you wouldn't really want to call it Pennsylvania whiskey. Good luck finding a bottle. He only released an edition in 2022, and the last time I saw any bottles of it, $250.
Yikes.
That is not this. This is a Pennsylvanian rye, and I will happily pour for you, my friend.
Sure.
But it's got a funny story to it. This particular rye is owned by someone named K.R. Overhold Critchfield. So this is a woman who's an author and a historian who has direct relation back to the Overholts. And so she tells lots of stories in that space, and she decided that she wanted to have her own spirit. And so she registered the trademark in 2016 for Old Farm Pennsylvania rye. Now, she has no ability or any competence, I think, in actually making whiskey. So she did the production out of Mountain Laurel Spirits, which is in Bristol, Pennsylvania. And they follow the traditional mash bill. The original versions were only aged for 6 months. They apparently were not very good. In 2019, she made this version. This is a version made by Hidden Still out of Hershey, Pennsylvania. And again, they follow, it's a pretty traditional mash bill, 86% rye, 14% malted barley, aged for 2 years, bottled at 40%, and only about $30. And as we have been drinking this, when I talk about a rye, we usually talk about it in the context of bourbon. And we talk about the rye being the spicy part, right? It's got a lot of sharp flavors. So this is not that sharp, right? It's got a distinct flavor to it, but it's not really hot. It's only 40%. It's pretty smooth, but it's got a different dynamic to it too. It's a very different style of whiskey. It's also only available in Pennsylvania. Right. So I include a link in the show notes, but that link really only leads to an online store to buy it, although it's available in a few shops here in Pennsylvania. Now, admittedly, Hidden Still has a bunch of their own product as well, which they sell more widely. If you go looking for Hidden Stills, you'll find it, but you won't find this. This is an odd duck. This is somebody's personal pet project to have a brand. They're leveraging off the fact that they're related to the Overholts and to that original farm back in the West. Certainly no old school of anything, but nobody at this point is really making a true Pennsylvania rye. But the ingredients are all there. Leopold's doing it out of Colorado. I think if someone would take the cues from him and actually set up shop properly in Western Pennsylvania, you could bring back a 200-year-old rye whiskey. And I'd love a bottle of that.
I note that it's made in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is a town that smells of chocolate.
That's right. It's a chocolate town.
Does any whiskey, of the chocolate leak into the...
Not a bit.
It's got a little bit of an apple flavor, honestly.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it's got a little sweetness to it. It's this is really pleasant stuff to drink. But
Old Farm, Pennsylvania rye.
Old Farm, Pennsylvania
whiskey.
And like I said, it's just a branding exercise that's being made by a third party that she's already shifted once.
It's got some history.
It's hardly a heritage whiskey.
Yeah.
But it does, there's nothing wrong with it. And it definitely led me down this path of the amazing whiskey culture that once existed that was, again, totally destroyed by Prohibition, right. Along with a particular kind of still. By the way, those 3-chamber stills, I've seen drawings of them made of wood.
Wow.
Because they run at such low temperatures, they literally could take modified barrels and assemble them into a still.
Wow.
What Todd Leopold's done, and I should, if you go searching for Todd Leopold and that whole story of the 3-chamber still, you'll find it. He had it made properly out of copper by Vendome, which is a American still manufacturer. So it does seem like in a time when we're really interested in these kinds of heritages, when we like the old grains, and we like original experiences, this is an experience, I think, screaming to be made. Nice. It may have already been done. It's going to take a few years for us to even know about it. But, the heritage
very
on this.
Interesting.
Yeah. Remember how much fun we had with the Missouri whiskey?
Yeah.
The Holiday? Yeah. I think Pennsylvania could be doing the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my friends, you have a show to do, Richard. You're going to go do your live .NET Rocks.
Yep, .NET Rocks lives in about an hour.
Very nice. Paul, you have a nap to take, I believe. So
what? Sorry, what to take?
Never mind. So I will bid you a fond adieu till next week. We do Windows Weekly every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1900 UTC. We stream it live in the club, of course, in the Club Twit Discord, but you can also watch it on YouTube and Twitch and X.com and Facebook and LinkedIn and Kick. If you don't want to watch live, on-demand versions of the show available at our website, twit.tv/WW. There's a YouTube channel with all the video, and there's also, we're a podcast, so you can subscribe at any podcast client. Choose audio or video or both, and you'll get it automatically. You don't have to think any more about it. Just listen every week. That's all we ask. A special thanks to our Club Twit members. This time of year, I like to be really thankful and grateful to them for making this possible. We wouldn't be here this year if it weren't for you being here this year, so thank you. And if you're interested in joining the club, twit.tv/clubtwit. We do have a coupon for 10% off now through Christmas Day, so now would be a good time, if you're not a member, to consider joining. Next week, we'll do a regular show.
Yeah, I'll be home for the first time in 10 weeks.
Sorry? You'll be home.
Next week's show will be from home.
Okay.
First time in 10 weeks.
I mean, I'll also be home for the first time in 24 hours. What's the big deal?
And then the following week, which is New Year's Eve, we have a special show, which we recorded earlier this week. I feel like I just saw you guys 2 days ago. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun, just storytelling. Bottle of whiskey too. Yeah, there was a nice bottle of whiskey. There was a fire in the fireplace.
Slightly different clothing.
Yes.
Santa came to visit. Anyway, that'll be our December 31st show, and then we're back in business on January 7th. So thank you very much.
This month is disappearing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Going fast. My Christmas shopping is done, I'm pleased to say. It's never been done so quickly. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time on Windows. Oh, I didn't say. Paul Thurrot's at thurrot.com. Don't steal his stuff, okay? And his books are
a little sensitive about it. Little sensitive.
And his books, including the Field Guide to Windows 11 and Windows Everywhere, are at leanpub.com. Richard Campbell, of course, at .NET Rocks. And you'll see that show he mentioned earlier there, but soon you'll see his special live episode of .NET Rocks. So runisradio.com. I think I said it wrong. Runisradio.com. It's the website. .NET Rocks is the show you're doing next. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. All you winners, all you dozers on Windows Weekly. Bye-bye.